Hello, hello. Thank you guys so much for being here. I see we've already got several folks here in the chat. Usually about 5 minutes before I kind of pop in there and let people know like the show's coming. I just realized I kind of forgot to do that right now. So thank you for staying here and having faith that I would indeed show up. And I have indeed. So thank y'all so much for being here. I see we've already got several people in the chat. So pretty soon here, I'm going to go through that and say hi to everybody. So if you are here, please do hop in the chat and just let me know so that I can say hi and just so I know that you are out there watching. This is going to be kind of a chill hangout stream. Basically, it's an Ask Me Anything, so you can ask me any questions you want. Really any questions. They could be movie related. They can be my life related, my YouTube process related, whatever it is that you want to ask, we will talk about it as long as I do have some kind of an answer. Then I got several packages over here. You can see the edge of one package right there. Just realized I got several packages from some of you guys that I've been kind of holding off on opening because one of my cats just walked by. I just saw him. I've been holding off on opening until I did a live stream because I'm sure those folks would rather actually see me opening up the packages. So we are going to do that. And there was one other thing. Oh, yeah, just celebrating. We hit 70,000 subscribers, which is insanity. So, yeah, 70K subscribers here on the YouTube, the Cobwebs channel. More now. But, yeah, we're just going to kind of celebrate that. So let me just go through and say hi to everybody. We got Jonathan Davis. I hope all the questions didn't vanish into the void. If you did ask questions before that comment, then they did, because that, from what I see, that is the first comment here. So I'm not sure what happened there. So if you can throw them in again, go for it. See, J Ruing 73. Thank you so much for being here. Have you ever watched Parts, the Clonus Horror? You should really check it out. It's a classic thriller from beginning to end. Parts, the Clonus Horror. I've never seen that. Never heard of that. I also don't know what Clonus means. So I'm kind of curious about that. What could a Clonus horror possibly be? I'm going to have to look into it. Hello, Michael Connolly. Michael Connolly's throwing up a red balloon, Pennywise style. I like and respect that a lot. We got Thomas. Thomas, thank you so much for being here all the way from Germany. Have you ever seen a German Edgar Wallace movie from the 60s? Like any of them? I don't think so, because I'm not exactly sure who Edgar Wallace is. The Dark Eyes of London. Tarantino loves that one. Okay, cool. No, I don't know if I've ever seen a German film from the 60s. None that I can think of. William Cinema. What's up? Just changed the name from Williams Reviews to William Cinema. Cool. Yeah, that's probably smart, so people know what you're actually reviewing. And that it is cinema. Although, you know, the deeper I get into YouTube, the more I realize I don't know that YouTube names actually matter that much. Because I love Cobwebs being in the name. I love the branding of Cobwebs. I still am not totally in love with the Cobwebs channel. Still not sure about that, but it's not going to change. It is what it is. But yeah, cool. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you for that. I appreciate it very much. Hello, Ben. Thank you so much. Stash peppermint tea. Oh, I was actually thinking about making a cup of tea for the stream, and I totally forgot about it, so I didn't. Oh, well. I do have my water right over here. And Jolly Ranchers ropes. Right on. Got to get some dessert in there in the evening. Hello, Anthony. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate those kind words. Ooh. I love this name so much. Soggy McSogster. Fantastic. Love it. Daniel, are autumnal Halloween atmosphere horror videos the best, or are they the best? They are the best. I'm already on my like autumnal videos kick where I just like to throw on fall-ish YouTube videos while I'm working and such. And I can't wait to make more. We're gonna do another autumn movies video September 1st. We're gonna do another Halloween movies video on October 1st. We're gonna go nuts with fall and Halloween content this year, and I'm so excited. It's showtime. My buddy Chris and I love to like do Beetlejuice voices to each other, like, oh, all those damn sandworms. Paloma, thank you so much. Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, hard to work in the channel, especially after the channel hack. You know what's cool about the whole channel hack thing? I don't remember if I mentioned this before, but right before the channel hack, like a few hours before, I posted a video on some like underrated 80s movies. And the channel hack happened, channel got shut down, and I was like, well, that video's dead. That's too bad. Even if the channel comes back, like that video's dead. No, that channel, that video just hit 100,000 views. It's like one of my biggest videos. And I was like, wow, that really shows that like the channel hack really did no damage in the end, which I was super thankful for. Your autumnal video is number one. The first one I saw. Great video. Thank you, Soggy. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hello, Gory Tiger. I didn't even ask how it sounds, but thank you. Honestly, although I know my wife is watching, so I'm sure she would have ran downstairs if I was just sitting here blabbering in silence. But thank you, Ralph. I appreciate the confirmation. Hello, Farah. I'm going to say Farah, but you can correct me if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Thank you for the congratulations. See, my husband and I have become avid watchers of your channel. Thank you. Ooh, have you seen Houses That October Built? No, but it is on my list to watch for this year's Halloween video. So as long as I don't hate it, which I really don't think I will, it will probably be discussed in this year's Halloween video, and I'm excited. I've already like started building a list of like Halloween movies I haven't talked about yet that I want to talk about, and Halloween movies that I want to watch. I've got quite a few on the list so far. I'm really excited to check more of those out. We got Chill. Thank you so much for the congratulations. Thank you, Penelope. Hello, Bonnie. Thank you. Yeah, Halloween video rental. I love this shirt. My buddy Chase at AVA Pop Culture has this exact shirt too. He wears it in videos sometimes. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Farnsworth. Oh, speak of the devil. It's AVA Pop Culture. Thanks, Chase. Thank you very, very much. Y'all must have saw him on my most recent video at least. Mr. 3D Print Wizard. Once I'm done streaming, I'll be back to ask questions. Oh, cool. So I guess you're streaming yourself. Probably about 3D printing. Right on, right on. Hello, Mike. I'm doing good. I'm doing very well. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, Penelope's probably talking about Chase right up here because he did talk about The Legend of Hell House in my most recent video. Beverly. Thank you, Beverly. I really, really appreciate that. Whoa. Okay. Anthony got the Scream Factory Mario Bava box set in the mail today. I actually didn't know that was out already. I was like considering getting it, but it's really expensive. And I've definitely not been buying as much physical media lately. I wonder if, I don't know if it's sold out or not. I'm gonna have to look into it because I was really tempted by that. Even though I do already have several of the movies, I don't have all of them. And it's really, really cool box set. Robert, from Grand Isle, Vermont. Oh man, Robert, I'm kind of jealous that you're in Vermont. I've never been to Vermont, but from like pictures, videos I've seen, it just looks like one of the most beautiful states, especially in the fall. Oh, it looks like such a great place. Ralph, the Ewan McGregor, The Island was kind of a remake of Parts of Clonosaur. Really? So it's a movie about, Clonus. So it's cloning. Interesting. I have seen The Island, but I've not seen Parts. Yes, The Legend of Hell House. It's one of those movies. I'm curious if you guys have any of these movies. It's one of those movies that like I want to love so bad. Like I want that to be one of my favorite movies because it's got so many things that I love. And it just doesn't get there for me. It just doesn't click with me. I've seen it twice. So the first time I watched it, I was like, okay, pretty good. The thing about the movie, and I was being kind of convinced that I love it when I was editing the clips over Chase's segment in the last video. The atmosphere in that movie is out of this world. It is some of the best haunted house atmosphere I have ever seen, ever. And Roddy McDowall is great in it. But I do not care about the characters in that movie at all. I like Roddy McDowall like as an actor, but like the characters are so weak to me. And I rewatched it before I made my top 20 haunted house movies video, which was I think a couple of years ago now. It was December 2 years ago. I rewatched it and I kind of liked it a little bit less. I don't know. It just doesn't click with me. I fully acknowledge though some of these I'm probably the problem. You know, I just something about it's not clicking with me. I don't know what it is. Oh, hello, Risha, Chase's wife. Thank you so much for being here. That's so nice. Thank you, Steven. Folks saying hi to Chase. Doing more ranking videos. I did one a couple of weeks ago. We did top 20 anthologies. Yeah, the thing... I mean, I'll always do ranking videos, so there will be more ranking videos. In some ways, the recommendation videos that I do, which have kind of become the bread and butter of the channel, they're more fun to prepare for, at least. Because when I do those videos, I kind of get to watch what I want. I mean, I'll come up with a theme, and then I'll pick movies I want to watch within that theme, but I kind of pick the movies I want to watch. If I do a ranking video, then there are certain movies that I have to watch because they're, some of the top and I just haven't seen them. Often I'll have to rewatch things. And I don't like being forced to rewatch movies. I would rather only rewatch when I really, really feel like it. But sometimes my cat is going insane. You just heard that. He jumped up on his cat tree and for some reason didn't like it and jumped off and made a big fuss. Where was I? Oh yeah, but sometimes it's like I've seen that, but it's been so long. I have to rewatch it and stuff like that. So there are a lot of things to consider with the ranking videos. But this next Sunday there will be a ranking video. I'm gonna finally continue the Decade series, and I'm gonna do my top horror movies of the '90s. So that's coming on Sunday. Excuse me. Let's see. I just heard about this Spanish horror movie called The Coffee Table. Sounds pretty good. I've seen The Coffee Table. The Coffee Table is one of those rare movies that made one of my lists, even though I don't like it. So I talked about it in my top it wasn't top. It was just 10 diabolical horror movies, which it really fits. So I talked about The Coffee Table there, so you can hear my thoughts. I don't like it. I think it's a movie that provokes a reaction, and if it sounds like something to be interesting to you, watch it. But it is not something that I like. I'll say that. Let's see. Hi, Daniel. I have a question. Have you ever talked about Betty Davis, in particular, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane? It's one of my favorite movies Betty made. Miss C, thank you so much for being here. That's one of my biggest movie shames. That's like one of the biggest classics that I've never seen. I've never seen Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. I know that's insanity. So I do need to watch it. I have certain videos I've thought about doing which it would fit on, and I'm like, well, when I do that video, I'll watch it for that. So I will get to it. I would say I'll for sure get to it this year. So I will watch it. Real quick before I keep going with the chat, because I did tell my Patreon folks that I would answer their questions first. So I'm going to go over to my Patreons. I gave them the chance to ask questions, and I put them all into a little PowerPoint. So we're going to go through that and answer those questions. So, Patreon question number 1. What has been the most... I should have put the names of everybody, and I didn't even think about that, so I apologize for that. Patreon question number 1. What has been the most emotionally draining, in a good way, horror movie you have ever seen? One where you're so invested in the characters you may have shed a tear or two. I don't know if I can say that I've ever seen, because I think to actually do that, I probably have to like scroll through my whole letterbox, or I'd have to look through my whole collection and like make sure I'm definitely right about this. But some movies pop to mind. Train to Busan definitely pops to mind. That's a South Korean movie, and I talked about it in a recent video on my wholesome horror movies video, which that wholesome horror video is provoked some reactions. That video did really well though, which is cool. Train to Busan, amazing zombie movie. It's so emotionally investing. Like, you just care about the characters so much. It focuses most on this. I mean, it's really just about a bunch of different relationships. It most focuses on a father who's not a very good father to his daughter, and he's trying to save her, trying to be a better father throughout the movie. There's a man trying to protect his pregnant wife in there, and you just care so much about the characters, care so much about them getting out okay. And the ending is just... it's really beautiful, but it's also emotionally devastating, and definitely cried during that one. Most recent one was another. I find a lot of there are a lot of zombie movies where I really love the characters, and where like I really get super invested in the characters. 28 Years Later was the most recent one. Felt a lot for that movie. I thought it was fantastic. So there's a couple. Patreon question 2, you're so prolific with your videos. What are the best ways you found to organize information about movies you've seen and are planning to see to keep up the level of productivity, avoid repeating yourself across videos, and efficiently, effectively group movies into similar themes categories for videos? I will tell you the answer to this one, and it is Letterboxd. I use Letterboxd for like everything. I absolutely love Letterboxd. Letterboxd has it's an app website most of you guys probably know to track like your movie watching. So I track all my movie watching there, but then also you can create lists in there, and you can set them to be public or private. And I basically always work on my lists in there, and I just set them to private. So that's where I'm building my list. That's where I generally take notes on movies, is within that. I don't know that it's the best way. I've tried other ways, and Letterboxd is just the one that I like the most, and it's just easiest for me. So that's where I'm making the list. That's where I'm tracking what I'm watching. Sometimes if I'm like thinking about making a list and I think, what else? What have I seen that I could put in this? I'll just scroll through all my watching on Letterboxd and pick something out. Avoid repeating yourself. How do I avoid repeating myself? That's an interesting one that I've actually been thinking about quite a bit lately, because I got a couple of comments recently basically saying that I repeat myself too much and that I talk about the same movies too much. Um, and one person even said like all your videos are the same. It's just the same movies in a different order, which is so obviously not true. And that's just kind of criticism. I'll take criticism all day long, but that's kind of criticism I just can't take seriously. But yeah, I repeat myself sometimes. And honestly, I fully believe that's okay, because I'm not so arrogant as to think that everybody watches all of my videos. Certainly not the case. And I'll tell you from my YouTube analytics, I know that is certainly not the case. So there are different people watching different videos. I may have talked about a movie 3 times and most people have only ever heard me talk about it once. I also think great movies deserve to be talked about more than once. There's no reason to like watch a movie and you only ever get to talk about it once in your life. So I will repeat myself some, but I do try to keep a check on it. I try to put at least 6 months in between talking about a movie. I don't always hit that because sometimes it just fits so perfectly on this list. And yeah, my video coming out this week, there's a movie I talked about 4 months ago. And like, I was literally thinking about this, like it was 4 months, but it fits so perfectly. I'm going to put it on there. Most people don't care, but for super diehard people to watch every video, they may notice it. Anyway, that's kind of the answer there. Let's see. Patreon question 3. How has life changed from working full-time and doing YouTube to just going full-time on YouTube? It's changed a lot. But in certain ways I didn't expect. It hasn't changed in certain ways. Like I kind of thought going into being a full-time YouTuber that I was going to have like so much time for making videos and like it was going to be so easy. Could just crank them out. And that is definitely not the case. I still feel like I'm pressed for time. Cause I put a lot of, well, for one thing, I do work harder on the videos now and I try to make them better. And also I do more lists than I used to do. It was impossible for me to do 2 lists a week before. Now I always do 2 lists a week. Always, always, always. So partially for that reason. But a big change is I now have time for different things. When I was especially like the last 6 months-ish of working full-time job and doing this, I mean, I didn't really do anything else because I did not have the time, because I kind of had this end goal in mind. Both my wife and I both did, of like, before too long, I'm going to go full time on YouTube. So I was just putting all of my free time I could into the channel so I could build it up to that point. And I still, I spent time with my wife. I spent time with my kid, of course. But whenever I had free time, I was putting into this. Now I have a little bit more time. So now I go to the gym again. Since my kid was born, I didn't have time to go to the gym anymore. Now I go to the gym 3 days a week, which is awesome. I read again. For a while, I really like reading, but for a while I just did not read because I did not have the time. There's just no way. And now I read again, which has been nice. And I take care of my kid 2 to 3 days a week because my wife works part-time now, which she really wanted to do. She didn't want to be a totally full-time stay-at-home mom anymore. So now I stay at home dad 2 to 3 days a week. And so I get to spend more time with my kid. So overall, it's been really, really good changes. Let's see. Patreon question 4. As everyone is doing Criterion videos, Barnes & Noble sale, any recommendations for your top Criterion choices? Yeah, I saw this come in and I went ahead and pulled a few. Now, most all of these are like old classic films because with Criterion, that tends to be where my preferences tend to lie with the kind of movies they put out. So I tend to gravitate to classic Hollywood. Talk about this one a lot. It's my favorite noir film ever made. It's They Live by Night. And it's basically a doomed lovers on the run story about two very young people. They're probably like, I would guess like 19 or something. And the guy is a prison escapee and he falls for this girl and they get married very quickly. And they try to have the American dream and they try to, be husband and wife and be happy together, but they're always on the run from the law and from some other criminals that are after him. And it's really sad and intense and scary and really emotionally investing. Absolutely love it. This is a movie that makes me cry. And it's the only noir film I can say that about. Seconds by John Frankenheimer. This is a Kurt Russell movie. Kurt Russell? What am I saying? Rock Hudson. That's exactly the kind of thing I could fix in editing if it wasn't a live stream. Rock Hudson movie. But it starts out where he is just this normal guy, but he's unhappy with his life, with his job, with his wife, and he gets this offer from this company to completely become a new person. And John Randolph is who originally plays him, but he goes through this plastic surgery, gets turned into Rock Hudson. It's like super handsome guy, gets a whole new life, he gets a new girl, and he kind of discovers that wherever you go, there you are, and your problems are still there because you are still you. And it's a profound movie in that way, but it's also intense and scary and disturbing. But it's from the 60s, it's black and white, it's pretty awesome. I'm guessing most of you guys, if you care about Criterion, you probably already have this, but this is their Val Lewton double that they put out. It's a 4K, and it's I Walked with a Zombie, which is one of my favorite old black and white horror films ever. It's just so good. And The Seventh Victim, which I don't like as much, but it is good. It's an interesting satanic cult movie. Very, very subtle. Super, super subtle. But yeah, really, really good double. And then another Rock Hudson movie, not Kurt Russell, is All That Heaven Allows. I grabbed this one because fall is right around the corner, and this is actually a really good fall movie. It's also got some Christmas time stuff too, because it kind of goes over the fall into winter season over the course of the movie. But it's a romantic melodrama, which is normally not my kind of thing exactly, but it's a really just excellent example of it. The characters are just wonderful. It has a great message, and it's only 89 minutes long, so it's really short. And yeah, it just has some of those beautiful like fall atmosphere ever. And then Anatomy of a Murder. This is a murder mystery courtroom drama starring Jimmy Stewart, where he gets this murder trial. And if I remember right, yeah, I believe I am, we know the guy did it from the start. So like for sure he confessed he did it. He killed the guy. But it's about why did he do it? And is it justifiable? Like, and is there proof that the murdered guy did this horrible thing and therefore deserved to get murdered? And it's kind of all about how the job of lawyers is to like defense attorneys is to kind of spin the narrative to get their client off as much as possible. And it's super interesting and it's so gripping. It's 2.5 hours, but I think, yeah. But it really just gripped me from start to finish. It's awesome. And then I decided to grab a not classic film, Something Wild, Jonathan Demme. This is one of my favorite romantic comedies of all time. So Jeff Daniels is just kind of this boring guy. And he gets swept off his feet by Melanie Griffith, who's this wild, crazy, free spirit girl, and goes on this crazy road trip with her out of nowhere. But it switches genres in the third act as soon as Ray Liotta shows up, and it gets like scary and intense. And it's one of the smoothest, best examples I've ever seen of a genre switch ever. So awesome. So yeah, those are my Criterion choices. Wow, we got 190 people in here. I'm just going to quickly scroll down and just kind of see what people are saying before we get to the rest of the Patreon questions. And if you do want to ask a question and just want it shot right up, you can send in a super chat and I'll just see it right away. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Maddie. Really appreciate that. Let's see. That is a classic film. Oh, Something Wild. Yeah, when I said classic film, I just meant like classic Hollywood, like golden age of Hollywood, the black and white movies. That's just what I meant. But yeah, Something Wild is a classic in its own way for sure. Let's see. Lindsay loves horror. I just want to say I love your channel. I've got some amazing recs for you, especially in the folk horror subgenre. Also, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have discovered WNUF, so thank you. Cool. Thank you so much. WNUF actually has a sequel now called the Halloween Mega Tape, I believe. I have the Blu-ray right back there. I bought it recently, but I'm watching it for the Halloween video this year. So I will be talking about that in this year's Halloween video. Yeah, I have the DVD box set too, but most of my DVDs don't even play anymore. That's kind of, that particular box set's like one of the more famous examples of disc rot that happened. I've replaced most of them on Blu-ray by now, but not all. Oh, we got a super chat in. Oh, from Mr. 3D Print Wizard, $9.99. Thank you so much. That is so generous. I really appreciate it. If you could have lived in any horror movie's world, which one and why? Ooh. You know, I feel like it has to be folk horror because I just love the vibe of like all folk horror movies. Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow jumps straight up to mind. Like, I just want to walk around Sleepy Hollow and that, all the gloom and the dark and the fog and the spooky woods with the scary tree. Would love that. Company of Wolves is another one. I would love to live in the world of Company of Wolves. So cool. Obviously, these would not be super convenient worlds to live in because they're like period piece kind of thing. But I'm more thinking about like taking a vacation in these worlds. Bram Stoker's Dracula, or just Dracula in 1931. Just walk around in Dracula's castle, Bela Lugosi Dracula's castle. Really, like any Universal Monsters movie, I would love to go on one of those. So really, like it would be like period piece. It would be gothic or it'd be folk horror. That's what I would want to live in for sure. Thank you so much for the question. Let's see. Oh, that's interesting. Wild. Hello, Vo Grizzly. Let's see. I follow you on two different accounts, one on one work. No, you can't possibly mess up my analytics. Like you're good. Don't even worry about that. Let's see. Yes, I have seen Mario Bava's Planet of the Vampires. That's one that like I love the aesthetics of it. The movie itself isn't very interesting to me. Like story character wise, it's very much like an early template for Star Trek. Like if you want to see like the um, building blocks of the original Star Trek series, I'd say it's Planet of the Vampires and Forbidden Planet. Forbidden Planet, I think, is a little more successful at it. But like, I just think like Star Trek took those ideas and just ran and flew off with them. And the original Star Trek series, I'm just a huge, huge fan of. But as a huge fan of Star Trek, it's an interesting one to watch to see some of the original kind of building blocks of the ideas. Also, the space suits in Planet of the Vampires look just like the X-Men suits in the Bryan Singer X-Men movies, which is wild. So it's like they took those X-Men suits from Planet of the Vampires. We got another super chat. Oh, no question. You could have totally asked a question, Beverly, but thank you so much for the donation. I really appreciate that. That's very, very sweet of you. Let's see. Oh, we got Born to Be Rad. Thanks, dude. Really, really appreciate it. If you want to hear me and Born to Be Rad talk, we recently did a video together um, on summer camp horror movies, so you can go check that out on his channel. Let's see. I've not been watching the new Dexter series. Here's my thing with TV shows, and people on these live streams, people who regularly attend my live streams know I've said this a million times that I don't really watch shows. But I did watch the first 3 seasons of Dexter, I believe. I think it's 3. I stopped at the John Lithgow one, which was incredible. Often what I do with shows is I just watch them for a time, and then I'm like, that was good, and then I just kind of move on because I just don't. I don't know. I just don't have the attention span to like stick with a show forever and ever, unless my wife is really into it and we watch it together. But yeah, I watched like the first 3 seasons of Dexter, thought it was terrific, and just kind of left it at that. But I do think especially that John Lithgow season was amazing. This was like back in high school or maybe just after high school when I was watching this. Did anyone see that movie where Nicolas Cage plays a serial killer? Yes, I did. Longlegs. You know what's funny? So I talked about Longlegs in a video recently. It was my evil horror movies video. And somebody commented like, I can't believe you spoiled that Nicolas Cage is the killer. Now you've ruined this movie for me. And I'm just like, dude, that's like spoiling that Heath Ledger is the bad guy in The Dark Knight. Like, it's not that kind of mystery. It is what it is. Let's see. All right. I'm just kind of scrolling, looking for a few questions. JB, favorite Giallo. I did a video on my top Giallos, but my favorite Giallo was Tenebrae, Argento's Tenebrae. That is, of course, assuming that a Suspiria is not a Giallo, which is my belief. I don't think Suspiria is a Giallo, but a lot of people do, and I would never argue with anyone. That's cool. But assuming, taking Suspiria out, Tenebrae is my favorite Giallo. So awesome. Just love it. Let's see. Let me go ahead and go back to the Patreon questions, then I'll jump back over to the chat. What movie surprised you the most as far as how dark it went? I mean, like movies that came across as happy and fun in the previews. That's a good question. That's another one, like, to give a really good answer, I probably have to like scroll through my whole letterbox, and I didn't do that. But I'll tell you one that came to mind right away. It's hard to say like surprised because I first saw it so long ago. I don't exactly remember what my first expectation was. But the first movie that came to mind is Dead Poet Society. And I love Dead Poet Society. And it always like, I still am not sure how I feel about how it ends because it gets so dark in the third act and so sad. And it kind of bums me out because other than that, Dead Poet Society is just one of like the best vibe movies. That movie feels so good to watch. Like I just love the aesthetics of it. It's another fall movie. And I love self-improvement movies. I love movies about people bettering themselves. And that's what that movie is for a lot of it. And it gets so sad. And it just, and I'm not knocking them for making a movie about that subject matter. Like that happens in real life. That happens. And young men are particularly at risk for it. But it just makes me so sad. It just bums me out. So that's a movie that gets darker than I expect like every time I watch it. But I do love it. We got another super chat. Thank you so much, Daniel. Oh, we got another Daniel in the house. Fantastic name. Nice to see you again on live. Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. I would like to know if you've already commented on Amicus as the Skull. I've always loved the movie as Hammer's vibe. I've never talked about it on the channel. I have seen it, but it's been so long that I couldn't comment on it on the channel. I would have to rewatch it, so I'll have to rewatch it. I remember liking it, not loving it, and that's usually how I feel about most Amicus movies that aren't anthologies, because I love their anthologies, and I think they tend to not be as good as normal movies, but except for And Now the Screaming Starts, which I really love. But The Skull, like, I remember being good, not great, but the one thing that stands out to me is the scene where Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee play pool. Just the opportunity to just watch Cushing and Lee play pool, great. 5 out of 5 scene for sure. So yeah, I'll have to rewatch it though so I can talk about it in the list. Oh, and JB, we got another super chat. Thank you. That's so sweet of you. Really appreciate it. All right, let me hop back over to Patreon questions. Number 6, congratulations on 70K. Thank you. I'm fairly new to your channel. I came in within the 62K range. How do you keep from burning out from watching so many movies? That's a great question. Thank you so much for asking. How do I keep from burning out? Well, the first thing is I don't think I watch as many movies as most people think I do. If I do 2 lists a week, and they usually have at least 10 movies. So that's like 20 movies a week. I haven't necessarily watched 20 movies in a week. I pull from like my back catalog of things I've watched in my life that I remember well enough that I can talk about. And also, like I used to do a podcast about movies, and sometimes if I'm like I remember it, but I don't remember it too good, sometimes I'll go back to when I podcasted about it and see what I said then. But usually, so like I usually watch about 1 movie a day, so that's not crazy, and that's not hard. It's not hard to not burn out from that. So I usually watch 1 movie a day. Sometimes I get in 2 movies. I probably watch like 8 to 9, maybe like 9 to 10 movies a week. So it's not crazy. Usually for most of my lists, I usually watch about 4 movies fresh, like new watches for each list, sometimes 5. And then for the rest of it, I just pull from things that I've seen before. So it's not too crazy, but then also still there is a danger of burning out. So especially now, I read. Reading is like my total escapist activity that has nothing to do with the channel. So now I would say usually 1 night a week, maybe 1 night every 2 weeks or so. I just read in the evening, and my wife usually reads in the evening. So we'll just like lay in bed together and both read. And that's like my totally relaxing evening activity. And that always, like, anytime I feel a danger of burning out on movies, I'll just spend an evening reading, and that pretty much clears it right up. Thank you for that question though. Let's see. You're going to be stranded on a desert island for a month that can only take a Blu-ray 4K player and 5 physical media releases to watch the whole time you are there. What do you choose? Fantastic question. I pulled a few, so let's just go through them. These are my desert island picks, and I just grabbed them right before coming on this. So, I'm going to go ahead and make myself big. Gotta have Jaws, because Jaws is the best movie ever made. I've said that before. I stand by it. Nobody ever did it better than Jaws. Plus, it's got a making of documentary on there that's really cool, so you get to watch that as well. And I don't know, like, you're on a desert island. You know what's funny? I just realized I picked 2 tropical setting movies, and I'm almost like, am I going to want to watch tropical movies if I'm stranded on an island? I don't know. We're not going to overthink this too much, but Jaws, because it's the best movie ever made. I'm going to save that one. Fright Night, because it's probably my personal favorite movie ever made in terms of just how deliriously happy it makes me. Fright Night just super rules. So you got to have Fright Night. Then I grabbed my Universal Monsters box set. You know, probably in reality, if I was doing this, I might just grab all box sets just to maximize bang for my buck. But this is what I did for now. So Universal Monsters, I can watch all the Universal Monsters movies. That's great. Wish I could grab a Hammer box set, but there is no like complete Hammer box set. I just grabbed my like total shut my brain off comfort comedy, which is Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I just love Forgetting Sarah Marshall so much. This is like one of the ultimate. I'm just down in the dumps. I need to, although I haven't been down in the dumps a lot lately, which is nice. Movies just to make me happy, and I love the Hawaiian setting of it. Again, how much am I going to want Hawaiian atmosphere on a desert island? I don't know, but I love this movie. And then I was joking around with my wife about this right before I went on. I was saying, this is what I'm going to do. I would bring a box set of the Halloween franchise because it's my favorite. It's probably my favorite horror franchise. I love it. I do not currently own a box set of the Halloween movies because I own them separately. But what I said to my wife is, if I'm going to a desert island, I'm going to do what I got to do to buy a Halloween box set, and then I will bring it with me so I can have all the Halloween movies, and I don't have to only bring one and one individual release. So there's my answers. Let's see what's going on over in the chat. Oh my gosh, there's so much. There's so much here. Let's see. Yes, indeed. Yes, it does, Ben. Best thing ever happened to Jaws was Bruce the Shark not working. Yeah, that is one of the most fascinating behind the scenes things. Very interesting. Never used to pick your favorite movie, so I'll ask, what's a movie you would recommend to everyone to at least see once? For me, it's Ellie Kazan's Face in the Crowd. Andy Griffith plays a vile guy. You know, I have been meaning to watch A Face in the Crowd for years. And I almost watched it for that recent Tubi video I did, where I did like, you know, just some retro movies, not horror specific movies on Tubi. Because I saw Face in the Crowd was on Tubi. And ended up watching something else instead. So I keep coming so close to watching it and then not, but I do need to watch it. That's just a hard question to answer. A movie for everyone to at least see once. So I kind of want to pick something that's a little heavier, kind of like you did, of like, but you got to see it once, you know. There's got to be a really, really good answer. I'm going to go with Seven Samurai. Seven Samurai is one of those movies that like I think most people would avoid because it's like 4 hours long and it's Japanese, so you have to read subtitles and it's black and white. It just seems intimidating on so many different levels. But then when you actually watch it, it's like super entertaining and it's like actually really, really fun to watch. But I think like that's a hard sell to like convince someone to actually sit through 4 hours of Seven Samurai. But I do think everybody should watch it at least once. So that's what I'm going to go with. That's my answer. Let's see. Oh, wow. I just watched the Jaws documentary about half an hour ago. That's wild. Thank you, Roger. Thank you so much for shouting that out. Yeah, hit the like button. I think it does help out the stream. I don't know for sure, but that's what people say. So I think it does. Reading, what's your favorite book, author, genre, or rereads? I'm not like a super experienced reader because throughout my adult life, I've like been struggling to find the time to read like all the time. And now that I'm a full-time YouTuber, like suddenly I do have a little bit more time for it, which is nice. Genre is horror. That's mostly what I read. So, you know, it's funny that like I read as my escape from just the YouTube channel, but I'm still reading horror. That's really what I want to read. Let's see. There was the book that really got me back into reading a few years ago was My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix, which was pretty big in like horror communities when it came out. They even made it into a movie that was okay, but it's a super good book. It's really, really fun to read. How about a Hong Kong Shaw Brothers horror video? I'd have to do a lot of research because I've seen a lot of Shaw Brothers Kung Fu movies, but I've seen very little of their horror stuff. So I would have to see a lot more. What do you think of Paranoiac, 1963 Hammer film? I like it a lot. Actually, I think I was going to talk about it in a video recently and I didn't for some reason. Not recently, it was a few months ago, but I do need to talk about it in a video sometime because it's really fun. Oliver Reed gives such a crazy performance and it's one of those thrillers that just has so many twists and turns. It's really fun. Post-credit scenes in movies are starting to wear a bit thin. I'm not sure. You're probably responding to somebody in the chat about that. But yeah, I think like Marvel killed trust in post-credit scenes, and that's why, because it used to mean something if somebody showed up in a post-credit scene. It was like, oh, this is coming. Marvel has teased so many things in their post-credit scenes that have never happened and show no signs of ever happening. Like they're totally untrustworthy now. So they really lost trust in the audience with those for sure. Kind of respect the post-credit scenes on Superman because they don't tease anything. They're just like a little bit of extra things. Although best post-credit scene I've seen in a long time, I think it was a mid-credit scene, and there was a post-credit scene, was Sinners. Sinners has an incredible mid-credit scene that like enhances the movie. Awesome. Let's see. What is your favorite sleazy horror movie? Well, first of all, Vanderhoff, thank you so much for being here. You're probably one of the most involved people in not just my community, but a lot of YouTubers' communities. So we all appreciate you. I know. Um, my favorite sleazy horror movie. I mean, I love the Karnstein movies from Hammer. So Twins of Evil is my favorite. It's not super sleazy. The Vampire Lovers is definitely more sleazy. Um, I really like Deadly Manor recently, which has an absolutely bonkers sex scene in it that's just crazy. So that would count as sleazy. Um, hard to think off the top of my head. Those are the ones I'm going to go with. Have you seen the Monster Club? Don't remember if you did. Yeah, of course. Monster Club, super fun. I've talked about it in my top Frankenstein movies list, my top 80s vampire movies list, and my top kids horror movies list. No, I was thinking of the Monster Squad. Sorry. Monster Club, yes, I have. That's the Vincent Price anthology. Sorry, it took me a second to catch up. Yes, I have seen the Monster Club. I actually did a deep dive review of that movie, even though I took me a second to catch up with the title. I've actually done a full dedicated video on the Monster Club, so you can check that out. A lot of people were questioning why it wasn't in my anthologies list, and that's because it came super close. But there are more than 20 anthologies that I really like, so it was like just outside making the cut. I do really like it. Thank you, Chrissy. Appreciate that. 90s list coming on Sunday if all goes well. Thank you, Roger. Coffin Joe. Ooh, that's interesting. Next video. It's got some Coffin Joe talk. So look out for that. Let's see. Let's go do some more Patreon questions. What's one horror movie star or director, living or dead, would you love to or would have loved to have a one-on-one conversation with? Oftentimes, oh, hang on. I got two questions. So 2 comments on the screen at the same time. Oftentimes I struggle with these because like the thought of having a one-on-one conversation with like a famous person, or like anyone I don't know, frankly, like kind of makes me nervous where I'm like, I don't know what I would say. I would come across stupid. Like, I talked at nauseum about how much I love John Carpenter, and a little while ago, somebody like kind of, in all good fun made fun of me for how often I say he's my favorite director. And I was like, okay, yeah, I probably do say that too much, but I just adore John Carpenter. I don't want to have a one-on-one conversation with John Carpenter. He's too scary. Like he's a kind of mean. He's very intimidating. He'll be kind of rude. I don't want to do it. But one person I think would just be an absolute delight is Vincent Price. That's someone that like, I feel like he could get along with anyone. He would make anyone feel important and feel valued. I don't think he would like make fun of me. John Carpenter probably would. I would love to talk to Vincent Price. Wes Craven seems like a super sweet guy too. I think Wes Craven would have been a lovely person to chat with. Let's see. I'll just kind of glance into the chat again. Ooh, Vincent Price cook me dinner. Absolutely. I would love to have Vincent Price like teach me how to cook dinner because I do like to cook. But I would like to get some one-on-one tips from Vincent Price. That'd be awesome. Yeah. I wouldn't even blame most people for a weird experience. Like it's just, they're just a person. You've never met them. You don't know them. And then like, I wouldn't expect some like amazing life-changing interaction. Like there's just somebody you don't know, So like it would just make me nervous. Yes, he was. Absolutely. Let's see. Are there any films, horror or otherwise, that you think had a lot of potential, but sort of fell flat? Man, I stink at thinking of these off the top of my head. You know, I'm kind of nervous to talk about this because this is a movie that so many people love. But I just recently watched Terrified, which is that Argentinian movie from the director of When Evil Lurks. And I loved When Evil Lurks. I thought it was fantastic. And I had always heard that Terrified was the better one. So I'd always been meaning to watch it, and I watched it recently. And man, I did not like it. Like, I really didn't like it. And it's one of those that absolutely had a lot of potential because the horror imagery is amazing. And it's a haunted house movie, ultimately, like several haunted houses. And the ghosts look so incredible. And the designs are so scary. And like the scare sequences are so good. But it falls flat because the story is almost non existent. And the characters are so like the characters are not great on one hand, but also you don't even spend time with anybody long enough to really get to like care about anyone. Like they keep switching characters, and that's the problem. Is like even if your imagery and your timing of your jump scares and all of that is great, if I'm not really invested in the movie as a story, I'm not going to get scared because I'm just not in it. You know, and that's kind of how I felt. I was like, these are great scare sequences, and I would feel, like they'd be great if I wasn't just so underwhelmed by everything around them. Like we start off with this couple and the wife gets murdered by a ghost. And I'm like, okay, we're following the husband. Then he's gone. And then it's like, we're following the neighbor. Okay, I guess the neighbor's the main character. And then he's just gone out of the movie. And then we're following these people. And then this cop shows up and the cops keep sticking around. And at a certain point, I'm like, is this cop just like our main character now? Like what is happening? So that's a prime example of like, man, it could have been so good. And according to most people, it is. Like, people love this movie, but that's just one of those that just didn't really hit for me. We got another super chat. Let's see. Oh, wait, we got two. Hang on. So Russ's Curious and Demented Domain. That is an awesome name. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat. That is awesome. Jean Roland's Iron Rose is one of the best ever. I've been meaning to watch that because I hear that's like one of the best like graveyard atmosphere horror movies. I've still never watched all of a Jean Roland movie, so I know I need to. I've like tried and like struggled with the pace of them, but I need to watch a whole one. And that or Fascination is going to be my first. I want to watch both that. SW, did you go to sleepaway camp when you were growing up? What's your favorite cabin camp horror? So I, unfortunately, I grew up religious, so I only ever went to church camp, and I hated church camp a lot. Partially because like the first time I went, like I got bullied, and I was homeschooled, so I was not used to bullying and didn't know how to deal with it. And I ended up going home early because I just didn't want to deal with it anymore. Kind of embarrassing. But I also just didn't like church camp in general. And then the second time I went, it went better, except I cracked my head open. I had this accident. I like tripped. I fell on a rock head first, gashed my head open, had to go to the hospital, had to get stitched up. Crazy. Like I remember hitting the ground and I didn't feel any pain, but I just came up and I just saw blood all over. And I started like feeling my head and my finger went inside my head. And I was like, and I freaked out. And my parents came and they took me to the hospital. So those are my two summer camp experiences. When I watch summer camp movies, and I love summer camp movies, I really wish I could experience what they're experiencing, but I really never had that. I never had like a true traditional summer camp experience. But what's your favorite cabin camp horror? I mean, favorite cabin in the woods horror. Hard to not to go with Evil Dead. It probably is the best. It's awesome. And then camp horror. I actually did a list of summer camp horror recently, and I put Sleepaway Camp as number one. Sleepaway Camp is awesome. I'm curious if anybody has anything to say about my summer camp stories. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I broke my leg twice at camp. Great. Chronologic. Damn, it sounds like when Jackie Chan fell out of the tree and cracked his head. Jackie Chan's had a lot of injuries, for sure. Never had summers here at all. Oh, man. Oh, wait. We got another super chat. Okay, 100 SEK. I don't know SEK. I assume it's not $100. But thank you so much. I don't know what it is, but thank you so much for the donation. I super appreciate that. Oh, it's from Sweden. Deb, keep up the good work, Daniel. I just love your channel. It's time for bed in Sweden, so I bid you all good night. Good night. Congratulations, you live in Sweden. That probably is one of the most beautiful countries. And have a good sleep. Oh. Hang on. We got somebody like super spamming something in here. Brazil, I'd like to know, was the first movie you watched with your father? Do you have this movie in your collection? Thank you much. Well, first of all, okay, I got your question, so don't spam it in the chat anymore. I mean, the first movies I can remember watching at all, my dad showed me were the Universal Monsters movies. And I usually always say Dracula because Dracula was the one I was the most into as a kid. Although I wouldn't necessarily say, I'm not positive it was my first, but it's the first one I remember being really into. So Dracula. But I do clearly remember the first time he let me watch an R-rated movie, and it was The Patriot. So my dad let me watch The Patriot with him. It was a big deal. My first R-rated movie. So that was fun. Let's see. Oh, okay. $10, about 100 sec. That's amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you, Mr. Print Wizard, for shouting that out. Let's see. I remember seeing a guy walk a girl around at his sub at church camp. I'm not sure what that means. I hope it's not something inappropriate because that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. We watched most of your recommended movies for past year. Do you have any non-horror recommendations that are absolute favorites? A lot. A lot. And I've done some non-horror recommendation videos or like non-horror specific. I'm thinking about doing one more before July's over because I think starting August, we're just going hard on spooky season. I think that's what's going to happen. So I might squeeze in one more non-horror before the month ends. It'd be easy if you like help me narrow it down a little bit. So I'm going to say George C. Scott, Hardcore. That's like one of my favorite discovery that I found over the past 1 to 2 years. Hardcore, incredible. Oh, we got a couple more super chats. $1.99 for Taco Bell Lugosi. Love it. Best Video Nasties movie. Yeah, I was looking at the Video Nasties list not long ago, thinking about doing a list around them. Pretty much like usually my favorites are always like the Italian stuff. So like the Beyond, House by the Cemetery. I don't think City of the Living Dead was a Video Nasty, if I remember right. You guys can correct me. And there's also the difference between the prosecuted movies and the non-prosecuted movies. There's also a lot of movies that like don't make any sense why they're there, but they're there. Toby Hooper's The Funhouse is a Video Nasty. That's one of my favorites. Man, The Funhouse is so great. Yeah, so those are a few. I believe Suspiria is a Video Nasty. So Suspiria might actually be number one. Now that I think about it. Texas Chainsaw Massacre might be a Video Nasty. Yeah, it's tough to remember exactly because there's a lot of movies on there you don't expect because you kind of just expect like the grimiest of the grimy. And like Anthropophagus. Anthropophagus is one I watched fairly recently, and I'm like, yeah, this is a Video Nasty. That makes sense. But then like the Funhouse, Suspiria, yeah, they're really violent, but they're such classics. You don't expect them to be Video Nasties. Yeah, I should do a list around those one of these days. Vanderhoff, can you have my address so you can send me something? I'm not going to say yes on a live stream, but message me on Instagram if you have Instagram. If you don't have Instagram, email me at cobwebspodcast@gmail.com and we'll talk about it. That's actually it's a good call out. I should start opening some packages because I think some people are like, the people that sent me the packages are like, man, when's he going to open these? So this is from Chase from AVA Pop Culture. He didn't even tell me he was sending something. He already has my address because he sent me some of his own movies on DVD and Blu-ray before. Yeah, and he just sent me this, so I have no idea what it is. The box is marked fragile, though, so I've tried not to be too crazy with it. And let's see what's inside. Okay, and there's a note, and he told me I could read the note on here. Okay, it says, Daniel, this cup, oh, it's a cup, came from the village of Darkmoor, the Universal Monsters landed Epic Universe. Oh man, I really want to go there. That's awesome. The store was called Dr. Pretorius's Scientific Oddities in the shadows of the Curse of the Werewolf roller coaster. There's a Curse of the Werewolf roller coaster? That rules. And Frankenstein's Manor, which houses the Monsters Unchained ride. Man, I need to go there so bad. My wife, Risha and I wanted to get something perfect for you, and knowing our shared love of horror movies and coffee, we thought this would be a perfect for Cobwebs of Coffee, and it would give you a little piece of the dark universe. Enjoy it, my friend Chase and Risha. That's so sweet of you guys. All right, let's see what this cup looks like. Ooh, and it's in the universal bag. Here we go. Ooh, it's a Dracula mug. Oh, and it's got like bat wings there. You got Lugosi's face. Pain in the neck. That's fantastic. I don't really have like a gothic mug. Like I have more like fall pumpkin kind of spooky mugs. I do have one mug from Salem. That's the old witch house on it. So that's cool. But yeah, I don't really have like a gothic vampire mug. So that I needed this. Thank you. That's so nice of you. I'm super happy about that. Let me check the chat, see if Chase is in there. I don't know if he's still watching. Yes, I need to. I need to like go down to the, I have no idea what that even costs. So I need to go down to the post office and find out. I keep thinking about that. Let's see. Chase may not be here anymore, but thank you, Chase. Super appreciate it. Okay. This is some artwork that a patron, Tanya Lane, messaged me about. And I thought, you know what, I'm opening some other packages. I'll open it on here. And I'm struggling to remember what it was. She told me, and it's slipping my brain. Now, it's paper in here, so I don't want to rip it. So I'm going to try to be careful with how I open this. Here we go. All right. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there. Oh, there we go. Chase, thank you so much, man. You are the best. I love it. Okay, we're in. All right, now we got 2 pieces of cardboard put together. Ooh, this thing's like Fort Knox. Okay. Whew. Now it's in an envelope. So we got to open up that. Oh, yes. She sent me a picture of this, and I totally spaced. But yeah. Paul Naschy, baby. Paul Naschy from Return of the Wolfman or Night of the Werewolf, which is my favorite Paul Naschy werewolf movie. There's the like Mask of the Devil that they put him on in the beginning, and there he is as the werewolf. Got some legit Paul Naschy artwork. I think if I remember right, her son did this, and her son is like an artist. We got a business card from Cuddly Art Illustrations and Cards. That's probably her son's business, if I remember correctly. But yeah, Naschy rules. We've also got a little Paul Naschy talk in the next video as well. Just got to talk about Paul Naschy, you know. Ooh, any urge to watch the new Alien series on FX? Not really. No, I mean, I don't really have time for TV shows pretty much ever. And I'm a fan of the Alien franchise, and I loved Alien Romulus actually. But yeah, I just can't really make the time for it. And I don't have quite that much. Quite have enough interest. There are the words. Absolutely is. Yeah. Naschy. Okay, cool, man. Yeah, I'll check out your channel. I don't know when I'm going to do another one of those. I think it'd been like almost a year since I did the last one. It took a while, but yeah, it was really fun to put another one together. Okay. So I got 2 packages from Mark Bessinger, who usually sends me stuff. He sends me a lot of Blu-rays. Because he's always upgrades like everything to 4K. So he sends me the Blu-rays that he's getting rid of because I'm not that much of a 4K purist at all. So some of these are Blu-rays, but then he also sent me something else, and he did not tell me what it is. So I don't know which one this package is going to be, because I got 2 here. Okay, that one was easier to open. All right, bubble wrap. This is the not Blu-ray. I can tell. Oh, it's heavy. Oh, that is Vincent Price. That is Vincent Price's face. It's like a cast of his face. Wow. That's amazing. I got so much stuff to hang out, and it's even got a little hook for the nails. I got so much stuff that I can put up on the walls now. That's so cool. Thank you so much, ma'am. That is amazing. Let's see. How many Blu-rays do you have at this point? I don't know. I think it was around what, like 1,400 when I did my complete collection video, but it's grown since then. But it hasn't grown like astronomically since then. So it might be around 1,500, something like that. Okay. Okay, so this should be the Blu-ray one. Seeing the Jess Franco Dracula version from 1970 with Christopher Lee. I tried to watch it once, and man, I thought it was super, super dull, which is pretty much how I feel about almost everything Jess Franco has ever done. Don't really like him. One of these days, I'll have to actually finish it because to be like a completionist with Christopher Lee. And it's cool that he got to play, a somewhat more book accurate version than he ever got to play for Hammer. But the movie is still made by Jess Franco, so I kind of struggle with it. Yes, I've definitely seen the Paul Naschy documentary. Love it. Absolutely love it. It's that documentary just made me love him even more than I already did. Okay, so we got some Blu-rays. We've got Psycho 3. This is the only Psycho movie that I didn't have on Blu-ray. I do have this one on DVD, oddly enough. But yeah, I still didn't have Psycho 3 on Blu-ray. Super happy to have it because I do like it a lot more than Psycho 4. I just had Psycho 4 on Blu-ray because I found it like really cheap used at a store one day. But yeah, I love Psycho 3. Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Classic. I just didn't own it. And he said, do you want this? And I was like, sure. Yeah, I'll take it. Ooh. Pixel Game Squad, best horror video game. I'm not a gamer, so I can't really say. I've played very few video games in my whole life, other than in my early 20s and teenager and stuff. I play like Super Smash Bros. And Mario Kart with friends and stuff. I did play all of Jedi Fallen Order, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. When that came out, I kind of dabbled with being a little bit of a video gamer around that time. And I did really enjoy it because I love Star Wars. It was a fun game. I played the first Uncharted. That's kind of it. Because I didn't grow up being a video gamer. I never really became one as an adult. So I've said this on a live stream before. But I played computer games when I was a kid, like online computer games. Because my family didn't allow video games when I was growing up. So we didn't have like a console. It wasn't allowed by my parents. But I could get stuff on my computer. So I played this one Garfield haunted house game on my computer and I thought it was kind of spooky and I enjoyed that. That's the best answer I have. Thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate that. Oh yeah, that's right. We got Forbidden World, the Steelbook. I haven't seen this in a long time. And I don't really remember it very well. This is one of Roger Corman's like alien ripoff type movies. Yeah, I barely remember it. And I was recently kind of getting the itch of like, I kind of want to watch that again. So I'm glad I didn't yet because I forgot he was sending me this. There we go. Forbidden World Steelbook. Yes. Deathstalker 1 and 2, 80s fantasy movies. Now this is interesting. Deathstalker 1 is terrible. Deathstalker 2 is pretty awesome. So I'm really happy to have Deathstalker 2. He sent me this because they just announced that they're putting these out on 4K, which is cool because this thing was like crazy out of print. So that's great that people can now buy it again on 4K. Let's see. You know what? I'd have to agree. Yep. All right. Brokeback Mountain. Excellent drama. This is one of those movies that I knew the reputation of it, but I'd never actually seen. And I watched it for the first time just a few years ago. And it really is a really great movie. Heath Ledger gives like an unreal great performance in this. So he asked me if I wanted that. I assumed because Kino put it out in 4K and I was like, yep, I'll add it to the collection. And then Can't Stop the Music, the movie musical event of the 80s. I don't know anything about this, but he offered to me and I was like, sure, I'll give it a shot. So yeah, I don't know anything about this. We'll find out. Oh man, we got some more stuff over here. Oh yeah, this is the Vinegar Syndrome, Criminally Insane, and Satan's Black Wedding. This is exciting. I've heard Criminally Insane is pretty great. These are both 70s horror movies. Have not heard such good things about Satan's Black Wedding, which is too bad because that's the title I like better. But yeah, always happy to add more to the Vinegar Syndrome collection. Love to check out some Vin Sim. The Great Spider Invasion. I don't think I know anything about this. Yeah, cult classic. I'm trying to find a year because I'm like, what is this? 50s? Is this 70? 1975. Okay. So 1975 B monster movie. Cool, cool, cool. Oh yeah, let's scare Jessica to death. Yeah, this just got put out on 4K by Vinegar Syndrome. And yeah, I probably wasn't going to pay that incredibly high price, even though I do really like this. Oh, this is a Scream Factory Blu-ray. Perfect. Very, very happy to add this to the collection. This is a very good movie. Awesome. Murder in the Orient Express. Oh yeah, he offered me both this one, which is the one from the 70s, I believe, and the new one with Kenneth Branagh. I've seen the Branagh one. Don't really like it. So I was like, I don't need that, but I'll take the 70s one. I'll give it a shot. Never actually seen it. So there you go. Oh, and something is wrapped up here. It's like Christmas. Open it up. Oh, what did he write on here? I don't know what that says. So maybe it's, I don't know. So we got something called The Loved One. Oh, it's a Warner Archive Blu-ray. I don't know what it is, but it's black and white. So oh, it's from the 1965. Okay, looks like a 60s comedy. Cool. I'm always down to watch a 60s comedy, and it's Warner Archive. So right on. Oh man, I have been meaning to watch this for so long. Witching and Bitching. I think this is a Mexican horror film. It's a Mexican witch movie. I think it's a horror comedy, and I've heard it's just really crazy and outrageous. And like I am hoping to do like another witch list during the spooky season. So this is perfect. Awesome. Thank you. Ooh, that is a stack. Man, Mark, you're the best. Thank you so much. Okay. Let me go ahead and just take a peek at the chat. It is like Christmas. Crazy. What's the worst horror remake ever? Got to be Halloween for me. I think the Halloween remake is one of the best. I mean, maybe not like best, maybe not top 10, but I like the Halloween remake. The worst one, most people say the worst one is Nightmare on Elm Street. So bad I've never actually seen it. I just, as big a fan as I am of Nightmare on Elm Street, I've never bothered with it. Let's see. Okay, worst horror remake. The thing with remakes is a lot of people get upset about remakes, and I never do because I usually just don't bother watching them, or like if I watch them and don't like them, I just kind of don't care. So I'm struggling to think of a one that I really hate, which is why I usually like if I don't like a movie, it kind of just falls out of my brain. Favorite horror movie decade. You've covered different decades of movies in your videos, but I was curious if you had to pick only one decade. I think I would go with the 80s, which is like the typical answer, but I think it's true. If only for volume. Like it's just, they were pumping out so many horror movies in the 80s, like way more than any decade before. And there's just so many great ones that I think like if I could only pick one decade, I mean, you got so much stuff there. Whereas like, I love 60s horror movies, but there isn't nearly as many. Like there's just not as many. So yeah, I think I would go with the 80s. Original Suspiria. I do like that remake though. I do think it's quite good. Yeah, William, I gotcha. Thank you for letting me know. Let's see. Oh yeah, it says surprise on there. I was kind of thinking that. Yeah, I think she's right about that. There were a bunch of R's, and that's why I had trouble reading it. The Loved One is a pretty twisted movie from the 60s. You can see John Waters liking the humor. Oh, this one. Oh, okay. Cool. Right on. The Thing? You talk about the horror remakes thing? Oh, here we go. The Loved One is a very dark black comedy about the funeral industry. I think it's great and wanted to share it with you. Oh, cool. Yeah, I love 60s comedies, so I'm totally down to check this out. And I love Warner Archive Blu-ray, so I'm very happy to add another one to the collection. What's your take on Black Christmas? The original is fantastic. In fact, I think it's the scariest slasher movie ever made. And then I really like the one from the early 2000s too. Is it 2001? No, 2006? I think 2006. That movie is just bonkers crazy, and I really enjoy it. And then the latest one from 2018, I didn't hate it like most people did. I thought it was okay. I kind of liked, I guess kind of spoilers, but it's basically like a psycho cult fraternity movie, which is why it's nothing to do with Black Christmas. But as a psycho cult fraternity movie, it's kind of fun. So I didn't think it was as bad as most people thought, but I only saw it the once when it first came out. I've heard the Fog remake is bad. I've never watched it. Most of the horrible remakes I've just not bothered watching. But only person I've ever heard talk positively about that movie is Chase with AVA Pop Culture, so he likes it. I should probably finish up the Patreon questions, so we're gonna hop back over there. What is your favorite kill in a horror movie? Well, I just mentioned Nightmare on Elm Street a little bit, and it is definitely the Tina kill in Nightmare on Elm Street. That thing is like, is it the goriest, the most creative with the gore? No, but it is absolutely terrifying, and it is incredibly creative. So creative with just Tina being dragged on the walls and the ceiling. Like, it's just one of the coolest, scariest, most visceral, most creative things I've ever seen in a horror movie. So yeah, that would definitely be my pick. How do you arrange your DVDs, Blu-rays by act? I think it's interesting. One of his examples was by actor. That would be difficult. Original your movies by actor. That'd be tough. No, I definitely don't do that. I arrange them mostly by boutique label, and then I have just the basic Blu-rays, just alphabetical. So right there, that shelf right there, that's my Screen Factories. Over here, I've got Kino Lorber, Vinegar Syndrome, Criterion, and then I've kind of got some stuff like Code Red, Synapse, Severin over here. The whole bottom line down here is Warner Archive. And then I've got a spinny shelf over here that has Arrow Video, Vestron, Fun City editions, and then overflow from just basic A to Z normal stuff, studio stuff, which is that whole shelf right over there. So yeah, that is basically how I do it. Last Patreon question. Would you consider doing I now realize that when I was showing you all this stuff, I really should have enlarged myself. So I'm very sorry about that. That is ridiculous. Would you consider doing a ranking list of horror movies by their location? That is top 10 East Coast, West Coast, Southern, Midwest movies, etc. I thought that was interesting when I read it, because my first thought was, I don't know if that would be very marketable. Because that's kind of how you always have to think about videos, is the phrase that always sticks out to me is if you don't know how to market your video idea, you don't have a good video idea. Because you always have to think about what would the title be? What would the thumbnail be? Is it eye-catching? Is it something people would think when it was interesting? So I was thinking top 10 East Coast horror films. I don't think that would work. I don't think you could really market that. But what if it was top 10 New York horror films? Or top 10 New England horror films, or top 10 Salem set horror films? That's kind of more interesting. It's more specific, and that could actually work. So that kind of just jogged my brain a little bit. I think you could do Southern. I don't think you could do Midwest. I don't think anybody would care. And I'm from the Midwest, but the Midwest is not interesting enough. But I think you could do Southern. I think you could do areas of the East Coast. West Coast would be tough. I don't know how you would do that. But it's an interesting idea. It was an interesting marketing exercise for me to think about that. That was all the Patreon questions. So thank you so much. So now I'm just going to be looking exclusively at the main chat. And if you want your question immediately bounced up, you can always throw in a super chat as always. Do a list of movies that are surprisingly Canadian. I don't know what to do with that. It's very interesting. Surprisingly Canadian. I think you would have to be Canadian to do that. I'm just not going to. Evan with Rockland Graves could do that. He's Canadian enough. As a human from the Illinois, the Midwest is great. I love the Midwest. I'm happy to live here. What I would say to my wife is if I could truly live anywhere in the U.S., I would live in New England, but it's so expensive to live over there. It would be a very bad financial decision for us to move there, but living somewhere like Vermont or Massachusetts near Salem, how cool would that be? But second choice would be the Midwest. I would rather live in the Midwest than the South or the West Coast, or the North. So I really like the Midwest, but I don't think it's eye-catching enough in a title thumbnail to get a lot of people to click on it. Let's see. Right on, right on. Being a new YouTuber sounds kind of like being a newspaper editor. I mean, kind of, yeah. You always have to think about like, how would I communicate what this video is? Because if people don't really understand what the video is, or it doesn't sound interesting, you've kind of wasted your time. Like, people aren't going to watch it. What does the radio behind you work, and what is its origin story? Oh yes, it does not work, but it's just been in my family for a very long time. So it's from, I can't remember what decade, maybe the 1920s. I don't know. It's very, very old. But it's been in my family for a long time. It was always in my mom and dad's house growing up. It was just a staple. It was always there. And then a few years ago, my dad said he was getting rid of it. And I was like, no, do not get rid of that. Like, I actually have a lot of sentimental value with it. I was like, give it to me. And for a little while, I kept it in the guest room over here. But then I was like, you know what? It looks cool. I'm going to put it in my background for my videos. And that's what I did. And it's become a staple. It's my co-star. I love having it back there. And I certainly don't ever plan on moving it. Do you have Hammer Horror and Scream Factory or the 8-film collection? You know your stuff, that you're asking that question. I have the 8-film collection on DVD, simply because I bought it at a store physically and it was there. But I've since replaced almost all of them on the Scream Factory Blu-rays. But I still do keep it because I still don't have all of them. No. I know you've been telling me to watch that forever. I still haven't watched it. Oh man. I think so. I think you're right about that. Yeah, I do love the rental. I don't have any problem finding anything because my brain knows exactly what boutique label everything is from. And that's just because my brain is packed with movie related information, and it doesn't have enough practical information in it, which drives my wife crazy sometimes. But I mean, if I have a movie, I have no problem knowing what boutique label it's in. I know exactly where it is. Let's see. Have you done a list of movies that highlight the sleaziness and grime of 70s era New York City? I have not. Would be interesting, though. I'd have to do a good bit of research. I mean, I've seen a fair amount, but I would have to see more. Ooh, Brent is in Vermont. Jealous. Vermont is cool. I will say I'm glad my YouTube stuff is way easier than yours. I show up and talk about stuff and do some CAD or share a print. I can't remember half the movies I've watched. Yeah, I have to remember for sure. Let's see. Have you done any reviews on horror comedy movies? Absolutely. I mean, I've done, horror comedy sprinkled in here and there. I've only ever done one horror comedy dedicated video, and it wasn't like a top 10. It was just 10 horror comedies to watch for Valentine's Day. So I did that. One of my lower performing lists this year, actually. So I think a lot of people haven't seen it. But because I think a lot of horror fans don't care about Valentine's Day, frankly. But yeah, so that's the only horror comedy dedicated list I've done. But yeah, I've talked about a lot in a lot of different videos. One of these days, I'll do like top 20 horror comedies. It'll be hard. It'll be divisive. People will disagree heavily, I'm sure. But it'll be fun. You can do California horror. It's not necessarily Los Angeles set, like Messiah of Evil or The Velvet Vampire. Yeah. Yeah, you totally could. I just don't know that it's, I don't know. I just don't know if it's interesting enough title for it. That's the only problem. Do a worldwide greatest horror locations list. Ooh, that'd be tough. Deep Fried Hamsters. Love that name though. It is hot here in Atlanta. It is hot here too. We're in every day I look at my weather app and it says extreme heat warning. But for here, it's like 91, 92. Atlanta, it's probably a lot worse. However, I did take a walk this morning in the morning. It was very cloudy and it was nice. It was a rare time it felt good to be outside. Yeah, like I'm certainly not bashing the West Coast. Like I really like movies that take place in the Pacific Northwest. Beautiful, beautiful location. It is, yes. Maybe my favorite Canadian horror movie, probably My Bloody Valentine. Super Canadian and one of the best horror movies of all time. Love it. I am not a sports fan. Yeah. I kind of wonder though. So my son is 2 years old. I wonder if he's going to get into sports because so far he seems to love anything. He loves like playing with baseballs. He loves playing with soccer balls. He loves playing with bowling. He just seems to get into any kind of game, any kind of sports related game. So I wonder if he's going to get into sports. And if he does, man, I'll be cheering him on like crazy. I'll go to all those games and it'll be super fun. But I don't watch sports. I didn't grow up in a sports household, so we didn't really watch sports growing up, and I never got into it. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't work. I really don't care that it doesn't work though. I mean, I wouldn't use it anyway. It's just decoration for me, and it's an antique, so it's a cool piece of history. I really don't need it to work. Blood and Black Lace. Yes, I talked about that in my top horror movies. Top Giallo movies. So I talked about there. I never heard of the Illustrated Man though. I don't think so. That's an anthology. Interesting. I'll have to look it up. Thank you for asking. Any new Giallo recommendations? I haven't watched a ton of Giallos recently, but I did recently watch The Night Evelyn Came Out of the Grave, which I just talked about in my most recent video. So I would recommend that. That's wild. I think that's the only Giallo I've watched recently. Yeah, so I'll have to check out some more. Oh, we got another super chat. I'm so sorry. I didn't see that pop up. Have you seen 976 Evil? Yes, I have. That's one I talked about in my 80s recommendations video. I did a video a little while ago, just like top 10 80s cult movies to watch for a retro movie night. I think is basically what I called it. And yeah, really enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun. It's just a totally just classic feeling 80s movie. It's got all those vibes that the classics do. And it's a really enjoyable flick. Let me see if I missed any other super chats. I did. I'm sorry, guys. I feel like they stopped popping up for me. Should have scrolled over. Let's see. Okay. Favorite Gothic horror, Spanish, English, or Italian? I would have to go English, as in England, for Hammer movies. You know what's funny? I might even go Spanish second and Mexican. I love Spanish and Mexican Gothic films a lot. There's some really good Italian ones, but I find the Italian ones tend to be the slowest. Like, you know, Mario Bava movies tend to be pretty slow. The English ones, the Mexican ones, the Spanish ones, they all tend to have kind of better, tighter stories that move along at a better clip. I'm so sorry I didn't get to that for so long. Answered that one. And answer that one. Okay, so this was the only one I missed. So I'm so sorry, Russ is curious. And Demented Domain. I'll do better next time. Let's see. Every time I hear Mario Baba, I get a shot. Baba. I don't say Baba, right? I mean to say Baba. Oh, let's see. Is it weird that Gremlins is the funniest movie I've ever seen? No, I don't think it's weird. I don't agree, but it's got some funny moments. I love Gremlins. Whoa, we got Philip Workman. Hey, Daniel. Okay, so Philip Workman is somebody that I knew back in high school. We didn't go to high school together, but I knew him in my town back in high school. And he recently, it's probably like a year ago now or so, messaged me on Facebook and was like, hey, I just saw you in a Born to be Rad video, because he watches Born to be Rad. And I was like, oh, yeah, I have a YouTube channel now, and that's crazy. So, hey, thank you so much for dropping in the chat. That's wild. Which do you get rid of if you have to? All Tom Atkins filmography or all of Vincent Price's? Tom Atkins, because he's got less. He's got less movies that I love. It would be really hard to lose The Fog. That would be the one that would hurt me so badly. It'd be really hard to lose The Fog. It would suck to lose Halloween 3, Night of the Creeps, Creep Show. But Vincent Price, Vincent Price, he might be like in my top 5 actors. And he's got so many movies I love, like way more volume than Tom Atkins does. So Atkins got to go. Price got to stay. Let's see. Been wanting to comment on your Final Girls review. You were spot on. I did special effects on that film. The director didn't have a clue, and the writers are even worse. Thank you for telling me this. I appreciate it. Yeah, the crazy thing about that movie is like, it is a really good movie and I really like it, but it doesn't look anything like an 80s slasher movie. And I'm just like, why didn't you try? And I remember, I think in my review, I compared it to the Psych episode that's parodying Friday the 13th, like Psych, you know, Sean Spencer and everything. And they did the work and they made it look like an 80s slasher. And Final Girls didn't even try. And I was like, why? Thank you for saying so. You have validated me. Michael Keane, favorite Vincent Price movie, favorite Peter Cushing movie, and thank you for inspiring me to create my own YouTube channel. Cool. You know what's funny? I I think there's another horror YouTuber named Michael Keane, the guy who like talks a lot about like Vinegar Syndrome type stuff. He got his channel banned a while ago, but he got it back, which is cool. I'm pretty sure his name is Michael Keane, so that's very, very interesting. But Vincent Price movie, Pit and the Pendulum. Overall, my favorite stuff from Vincent Price is his Edgar Allan Poe movies. Even though I love a lot of others too, like House on Haunted Hill and The Tingler. His William Castle stuff is awesome. But I love his Poe stuff the most, and I have to go Pit and the Pendulum. Favorite Peter Cushing movie? I think it's Horror of Dracula, which is funny because I have several videos where I have ranked Curse of Frankenstein over Horror of Dracula. But I think over the years it's just changed. I think it's Horror of Dracula now, but I do think Curse of Frankenstein has his best performance. I think that's Peter Cushing's greatest performance is in Curse of Frankenstein. Great question. Thank you. Ooh, multi-part video series for the best horror movie takes place in each state. Wow. That'd be interesting. You know, one horror movie that was filmed pretty close to me is You're Next, the Adam Wingard movie. It was filmed in my town. And I don't live in a town where movies are usually filmed. So that's kind of special. That's pretty cool. Ooh, okay. Thank you so much, Domingo, for naming that because my next video is on foreign horror movies. It's not the best. It's not a top 10. That would be tough. That'd be a much bigger undertaking. But it's just 10 foreign film recommendations that kind of illustrate, you know, the kind of very different experiences you can get if you watch a foreign horror film than just the American stuff. So that's a fun video. I filmed that today and edited a big chunk of it, and it should come out on Wednesday. So coming up. But as far as for best ever foreign films, not yet, but I'm sure I'll get to that one of these days. Yeah, that probably is Canadian. I hadn't thought about that, but I think it is. Yeah, probably. Love that movie. I just recently bought the Blu-ray. Loved it in theaters, but still hadn't bought it, but now I have it. Let's see. Does your son have a favorite horror movie? These days it's super hard to get him to pay attention to anything for that long. But we did the other morning, we watched Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, and I think he watched that whole thing. So that was cool. Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. That's a good one. That was fun. Last year he really enjoyed Casper. Oh, you know what? It's on the tip of my tongue. I know exactly what his favorite horror movie is, and it's Nightmare Before Christmas. He loves Nightmare Before Christmas. He loves Jack Skellington. He was literally just watching it today. So it'd have to be that. He does love Frankenstein and the Wolfman, but I can't get him to actually sit and watch the movies. Because the problem with those are when the monster is on screen, he loves it. When the monster's not on screen and it's just people in suits talking, he doesn't care anymore. And those movies have a lot of the monster not on screen. So that's the struggle I have right now. But when he gets a little older, I'll get him into those Universal Monsters movies for sure. Oh, you just found the channel this week. Binge your vids. Thank you. That's awesome. I really appreciate that. Ooh, Delirium for Giallo. I do like Delirium a lot. Good. I got the Code Red Blu-ray right back there. No, I think I looked into that movie recently, and it looks like my kind of vibe. I think that's the movie I'm thinking of. Because I'm always just on the lookout for like dark, gothic-looking period piece movies. And that movie kind of gave me that vibe. Yeah, that's it. I need to watch that. That looks like my kind of thing. So yeah, haven't seen it yet. Thoughts on Svengoolie? Oh, Svengoolie's wonderful. I've never like watched him regularly because I don't know. I didn't know about him until like a few years ago, and I don't have like access to regular TV channels because I really just don't care to. But I did one day actually go out, buy an antenna so I could access MeTV and watch Svengoolie. And I watched Svengoolie. I believe the one I watched was Dracula's Daughter, and it was fun. But there are like so many commercials that it's kind of, I couldn't do it regularly. I mean, people complain about the commercials on Tubi. Guys, it ain't nothing like regular TV. Like regular TV, like half of your viewing time is watching commercials. It's brutal. Tubi ain't nothing. But Svengoolie's a sweet guy, and his jokes are fun. I like him. What's been your favorite horror movie viewing in a movie theater in terms of crowd reaction? Tough one, because I feel like I don't get a lot of awesome crowd reactions. I don't get a lot of interesting theater experiences either way. Like a lot of people talk about horrible theater experiences. I pretty much never have those. I feel like, I don't know, in my town, people just don't really react when they go to the movies. They don't really talk, they don't really get on their phones, and they don't really react. Like they tend to be quiet audiences most of the time. Um, like my favorite theater experiences have tend to have been superhero movies. Like that's where the reactions happen. It's like when Captain America catches Thor's hammer, when Tobey Maguire steps out in No Spider-Man No Way Home. Those are the big reactions I get. With horror movies, you know what it is? I know what it is. It's Jaws. It was a rep screening that I went to of Jaws maybe around 10-ish years ago. And you know, it's a classic movie. Most people have seen it. But the crowd was just into it. And I remember when it was a packed house too, absolutely packed. And I remember the jump scare underwater when the corpse's head comes into view. Like everybody jumped and screamed. It was the most effective jump scare I've ever seen in a theater. So that's why I say like Jaws, nobody ever did it better. It's the best movie ever made. And then also when I go to those 24-hour marathons, you get some fun experiences. Seeing The Convent, seeing Prom Night 3, and just everybody just cracking up laughing through those whole movies was super, super fun. Yeah, but as far as like brand new horror movies and just people screaming and everything, I've had good experiences just going to see movies with my wife. But like the rest of the audience isn't really reacting that much. But like I remember when we saw X, Ty West X, and when we saw Barbarian, we had so much fun, just like jumping in our seats and reacting to stuff. And we just had a blast. Also, when I saw the Evil Dead remake, that I just went to see with some friends. That was like right after high school. And I remember there was a couple sitting in front of us, and the guy was like freaking out. He was like squirming and covering his eyes and like burying himself into the girl, and the girl was totally fine. I remember thinking that was pretty funny. So that's always stuck out in my brain. And that was also a crazy experience for me. The Evil Dead remake, when I saw that, that was the goriest movie I'd ever seen in my life. So yeah, probably a long-winded answer. Oh my gosh, I'm so far behind. Let me see if I missed any. No, I did not. Okay. So I went ahead and scrolled down a little bit. Let's give some other people a chance. That's awesome. I love that you had a great experience with Sinners. I didn't. It was just a normal theater experience, like pretty much everything I get in my town. But thank you. I've not seen Campfire Tales. I had a lot of people calling that out. That movie's just not really available. Like it's not on physical media. It's not on streaming. So I'm going to have to find some kind of dubious method to find it and be able to see it. I do want to see it for sure, but I've not seen it yet. Yeah, if you got to see it in the theater, that's cool. Because that movie's a trendsetter. A lot of movies started ending that way after Carrie. Biggest physical media purchase regret. I'll tell you what. So Dawn of the Dead back there. Second side edition of Dawn of the Dead, that's the standard edition. The first time I bought it was their full, thick box, big edition that they first released, and it was more than $100. And I bought it. And the funny thing was, I pre-ordered it, and it happened to get delivered right around the time I moved. So I had to drive back to my old house to get it off the porch. And like I had to go check a couple of times, like see if it was there. Crazy. But I finally got it and I opened it. I didn't take the plastic off, but I opened up the package. I'm holding it and I'm like, this is ridiculous. I paid $100 for one movie. So I was like, no. I sold it. And I actually sold it for a profit. I didn't mean to. I just put it up for auction on eBay and I made a little bit of a profit, and I bought the standard edition. Really, I bought that with the profit. So that really cost me nothing. And I don't regret it because that's $100 is too much to pay for one movie. So that was it. But I fixed the regret and it's all good. Campfire Tales is on Tubi. That's a big deal. Because last time I checked, it wasn't streaming at all. So if it's on Tubi now, that's amazing. That's kind of like I also really wanted to see The Curse, and it wasn't on streaming at all, and it's on Tubi now. So that's where I watched it recently. So that's cool. Let's see. You have a top 5 Stephen King adaptations. Number 1 would be Pet Sematary. Number 2 would be Carrie. People will kill me for this. Like I've gotten a lot of criticism for this, but I think number 3 would be Doctor Sleep. People hate that I love Doctor Sleep so much, and I do love it more than The Shining. It's one of my most controversial opinions. I think Doctor Sleep, Cujo, Christine. I do love The Shining, but I don't love it as much as everybody else does. Like, I think it's a really interesting movie, but it doesn't like get me in the heart like a lot of other Stephen King movies do. Although I was only thinking of horror movies, so I wasn't even thinking like Shawshank Redemption. I might stick with it. That might be the top five that I would go with. Let's see. I believe the one that everybody's referring to is the anthology from the 80s, and I believe it's Western themed, which is even more reason that I would love to watch it. I still need to see Rose Red. People comment about that a lot. It's a mini series, so it's not a movie, so it's really, really long. So I really have to carve out some time, but I would like to see it. Let's see. Have you ever had an experience like that where there's a new hot thing that everyone loves and it just didn't click with you? Shoot. I'm trying to think. I mean, Terrified was one that I just recently saw. But like a brand new movie that everybody's loving and I'm just not into. I can't. Maxine is one. Although everybody didn't love that. But it seems like most people I follow online really loved it. And I didn't like it. So that's one. That's one I would think of. Yeah, best jump scare I've ever seen in a theater was a hospital scene in Exorcist 3. Everyone in the theater screamed for like 5 minutes after that. That's awesome. Yeah, that's amazing. I love a good jump scare. Jump scares get a bad rap, but I love them. Let's see. Ooh, you turned Doctor Sleep off. Man, I love Doctor Sleep. See, William says The Shining is overrated. I kind of agree. But that doesn't mean I don't I don't love it because I do. I think it's like a great movie, but it's not a personal favorite. It's not one of my favorite movies of all time. And it's not a movie I throw on a lot. But I think it's brilliantly well made and I think it looks amazing and I love the performances and it's a really good movie, but it doesn't get me in the heart. I'm not like emotionally invested in it like I am in like Cujo and Christine, which I kind of just love with my heart. Yeah, Salem's Lot. Toby for Salem's Lot is awesome. That's great. I like Graveyard Shift too. I did a little while ago, early this year, I did 10 Stephen King movies that are must see or something. And it was just a recommendations list of Stephen King movies. It's not a top 10. And that video came out. It did okay. And recently, I don't know, the algorithm just like picked it up. And all of a sudden now it's doing really well. And there are so many people in the comments that think it's a top 10 and are acting like, this is crazy. And I'm like, it's not a top 10. I never said it's a top 10. It's just a recommendations list. Because I wouldn't agree with it as a top 10 either. Because like Graveyard Shift is awesome. And I wouldn't put Graveyard Shift in the top 10. But it's fun. It's a really fun movie. Yeah, The Dead Zone is terrific. Great, great movie. No, I've not seen The Life of Chuck. Heard very interesting things about it. And I love Mike Flanagan, so I'll have to check it out. But no, I haven't seen it yet. Let's see. Oh, you're right. You are absolutely right. I'm thinking of Grim Prairie Tales. That's exactly what I'm thinking of. Yeah. So Grim Prairie Tales, I believe, is not on streaming. You're right that Campfire Tales is on Tubi. And that's a movie that I'd wanted to see for a long time, and it wasn't available. But now it's on streaming. But I haven't caught up with it yet, so I do need to check it out. Yeah, I totally got mixed up there. I love 1408. Like 1408 was big in my household in high school. Like all my family loves 1408 and we've all seen it many times. It's really good. Yes, I love Hoopla and I love Canopy. By the way, thank you for your service being a librarian. That is awesome. I love libraries. So yeah, if you don't have a library card, I always say get a library card. And you can probably stream movies through Hoopla and Canopy, which are free streaming services if you have a library card, and they're great. I try to shout them out when movies are on there in my streaming options list I put at the end of my videos now. Ooh, maybe. Insidious was a trendsetter. And I do think Insidious is a really, really good movie. So it kind of deserved to be a trendsetter, but it was, for sure. Also, like I was just talking about Terrified. The score for Terrified is really trying to be the Insidious score. Like, it really, really is. Let's see. Yeah, Tourist Trap is a scary movie. That's one of the scariest slasher movies. Like, not one of the most violent because it's PG, but it's one of the scariest slasher movies. It's pretty great. Most overrated horror film. I do kind of hate the term overrated because it kind of suggests that like other people are wrong for loving something as much as they do, and people are never wrong for loving something. Kind of like how I also hate the term overhyped. Like, it kind of drives me crazy when people complain about something being overhyped, because I'm like, I mean, people just love the movie, so they're just like they're talking it up because they loved it. So there's nothing wrong with that. Just because you didn't love a movie does not mean it's overhyped. It just means you didn't love it. But Terrified is up there. Keep mentioning it. I don't know. Most classic horror films, I either love it or I get why it's a classic. So I would never call it overrated. Like The Exorcist is another one. I don't love it as much as everybody else does, but I still think it's a fantastic movie. So I would never call it overrated, but it's not a personal favorite for me. So tough question to answer. Oh, you're reading Pet Cemetery right now. That is a phenomenal book. That's one of the best books I've ever read. Although it's really hard read because it is so devastating. It's so bleak, but it's so good. Ooh, Matt Draper, thank you so much for dropping in, man. If you could turn a horror movie into a theme park ride, what would it be and what kind of ride? Sleepy Hollow, because I just want more Sleepy Hollow stuff. I'm such a broken record about Sleepy Hollow. I will say one thing, though. Every time I would go to look at Halloween decorations over the years, I would always be like, we need more Sleepy Hollow stuff. Like, Sleepy Hollow needs to be a standard of Halloween decorations, and it never was. Over the past couple of years, we got there, folks. We got there. Now when I go look at Halloween decorations in stores, there's usually Sleepy Hollow stuff. It's so great. But yeah, I would love a Sleepy Hollow ride. I would love it to be like the Harry Potter world at Universal, where you like walk through Harry Potter world, but you walk through Sleepy Hollow, Headless Horseman stuff. But of course you can actually go to Sleepy Hollow, New York. And I've heard it's actually a little bit underwhelming, but I have recently been enjoying putting on videos of like Sleepy Hollow in October, and people film events and stuff, and it looks really cool. But yeah, I would love Headless Horseman's jumping out at me on a ride. Other than that, I will say The Mummy has a great ride at Universal. The Mummy ride is really, really good. So that's a real life one I would recommend. Ooh, thanks for the intro to Katie of the Night. Giallo presented by someone who likes like they walked out of a Giallo. Oh, looks like they walked out of a Giallo. She does. Yeah. Our guess a method of gushing over movies that might not be your favorites. No. It's really just because I like that kind of, I had that idea a while ago, over a year ago, and I did one and I liked it. I liked how it turned out. I like getting to showcase other creators. I like the collaboration aspect. You know, it's not as personal a collaboration method because we're not actually having a conversation like a podcast. But honestly, it's a method of collaboration that gets more eyes on it because it's still my standard kind of video that people still watch, but I get to showcase other creators. And it's also an easy way to collaborate that doesn't, take up a whole night of podcasting. Like, I used to be a podcaster, so I collaborate over podcasting every week, and it takes up a lot of time. No, I just like doing that, and I like showcasing people. Like Katie of the Night on that video talked about the severed arm. I love the severed arm too. Severed arm is great. So I agree with her on that. It's even hot here in Mississippi. I bet it is. I bet it is in Mississippi. Dr. Sleep was really good. I can't watch it again because it makes me anxious for some reason. Sure. Yeah. It's an intense movie. It's a scary movie too. I get it. Favorite Guillermo del Toro movies. It's an unpopular opinion, but my favorite is Shape of Water. And it's funny that it's an unpopular. I think it is an unpopular opinion because it won the Oscar. I think if that movie did not win an Oscar, it would be much more of like a cult favorite. But it got so much critical acclaim, so much awards buzz, and it won Best Picture, which is insane. I cannot believe the movie where a woman has sex with the creature from the Black Lagoon won Best Picture. That's one of the people don't give enough credit for that being one of the craziest things that's ever happened in the history of movies. So now people kind of consider it overrated and it's like mainstream. But like, guys, it's such a weird movie and it's so awesome. I love The Shape of Water. It's my favorite. But also Hellboy 2, one of the best comic book movies ever made. It's like one of the best like horror fantasy action things ever. Like kind of up with like Brotherhood of the Wolf, horror fantasy action. Hellboy 2 would fit in there. And Pan's Labyrinth. I mean, come on, Pan's Labyrinth. But also Nightmare Alley. I love Nightmare Alley. That movie's super underrated because it got like no buzz when it came out, but it's actually terrific. Oh, I love Guillermo del Toro. I'm so excited for his Frankenstein movie. See the changeling. See, this is an example of why. By the way, hello, Bog Zombie. This is an example of why I think it's okay to repeat yourself in YouTube because, like, I kind of feel like I've over talked about the changeling. I've talked about it in a lot of lists, but still, a lot of people have never heard me talk about the changeling because people don't watch every video. Which is, anyway, the changeling is a fantastic movie. Love it. George C. Scott, amazing performance, great atmosphere, phenomenal. We got some love for Matt Draper in the house. Love to see it. Oh my goodness. Ooh, I really considered Vampire's Night Orgy for the 70s horror vid. Lots of atmosphere and creepy. I considered watching it for that too, because I've got it back there and I still haven't watched it. So I do really need to check it out. I think I didn't watch it for that because vampire lists tend to do very well for my channel. And I love doing vampire lists. So I'm like, I think I'll save it for the next vampire list I do. Oh man. Yeah. Does anybody remember that weird Sleepy Hollow show from years back? Man. I remember I watched the first episode of that show because I was like, Sleepy Hollow, love Sleepy Hollow. And it was one of those like, look how they massacred my boy kind of moments. It's terrible. I mean, I'm not, if you like that show, fine. I'm not saying it's a terrible show, but like as an example of Sleepy Hollow, it's just bleak. Like they really just turned Sleepy Hollow into a generic cop show. Where Ichabod Crane is walking around the police precinct. They're talking about the latest murder, and the Headless Horseman's using a machine gun. Like, God, it's not Sleepy Hollow. It's Sleepy Hollow in name only. Daniel, where do you get your cool t-shirts? So most of the t-shirts that I wear in my videos are from one designer named Steven Rhodes. He is a guy who his main thing, most of his shirts are like kind of 1950s styled kids illustrations that are scary. So he like kind of does this juxtaposition of like very wholesome art with like a monster in it. And I just think I love the shirts. I love the designs. I love how the colors pop on camera. And I just think they really fit the vibe of this channel because I ultimately I kind of think of the vibe of this channel of it's spooky, it's scary. We talk about horror movies, but it's also kind of a comfy, cozy, wholesome vibe. Like that's what I think the brand of Cobwebs is. So Steven Rhodes shirts fit perfectly. So that's where most of them are. You can get them in a lot of different places. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them on TeePublic. I originally found them because they carried a lot of them in Spencer's. They actually don't so much anymore, which is too bad. So I mostly have to buy them online. But yeah, I actually did this one thing with my most recent video is I posted a link to my shirt because I started doing the Amazon affiliate thing, which I actually thought wouldn't be very successful, but it kind of has turned out to be decently successful, which is cool. So I posted an Amazon affiliate link to the shirt I was wearing. And I thought maybe I'll keep doing that because people ask me about my shirts a lot. Penelope loves the guest and collaboration videos. Cool, cool. Ooh, I love Valerie and Her Week of Wonders. It's a great movie. That's another movie that I've talked about in several videos now. That is one of the best examples of like a dark but beautiful fairy tale horror kind of vibe. But I didn't put it on my fairy tale horror list because it doesn't actually have any connection to any fairy tales. But it just has the feeling of them so perfectly. So yeah, I do love that. Let's see. Favorite werewolf movie is without question The Wolfman, the original from 1941. And I remember so I did my top werewolf movies of all time video. It's 2 years old. The list does not hold up anymore. I still get comments on it like, you missed all these movies. And I'm just thinking like, yeah, I've seen those movies now, but I hadn't seen those movies 2 years ago. So I really need to redo it. But I put The Wolfman as number one, and it'll always be number one. And I remember getting some comments like, oh, sure, the old black and white one is your favorite. Like, you don't have to say it's your favorite just because it's the classic. Like, you can be honest. And, like, people don't understand, like, how big the gap is. Like, it is The Wolfman, and it is everything else. Like, The Wolfman's one of my top 5 movies of all time. Like, I'm just a crazy fanboy for it. Oh, let's see. Oh, the overrated and criticism against movies is out of hand. It's refreshing to see a channel like yours that tries to remain positive. Hopefully you won't get jaded. I think about that and I don't want to because I know a lot of people, and I'm not calling out anyone specifically. This is just across the board. This happens with so many people. When they get older, they just kind of stop accepting anything new and they kind of just want to watch the things they grew up on and that they saw when they were young. And I just never want to be like that. You know who's really inspiring to me for this is Kanan from Ghost Pirate Entertainment. Kanan is he's not old, but he's older than me. He's an older guy, middle age. But he still has so much passion for new stuff. And he's like so involved in like promoting brand new indie horror. And I really respect that from him. So yeah, I don't ever want to get like that. And I'll really try not to. And I don't think I will because I just love movies, man. Let's see. Now that you're reading, I definitely recommend the book "The Lady from the Black Lagoon." Yes, I've not actually read it, but I do know a lot about that story, so I'm sure going deeper into it would be great. Yeah, she's a very interesting person. Oh yeah, Mimic. That's actually a Del Toro movie I've never seen. Is it the only one? I think it might be the only Del Toro movie I haven't seen. Yeah, I know like he's I don't know that I would go so far as say he's disowned it, but kind of close. He says that like it's not the movie he intended to make at all, and the studio messed with him like crazy. But I do need to check it out because also isn't it starring? Who's that actress that's starring? I actually like her. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. I've been meaning to see this for a while. A lot of people have been recommending this to me a lot. Maybe it's been you every time. I don't know, but I see it pop up in the comments a lot. The Torture Chamber of Dr. Sadism. It looks super up my alley. It's on Tubi. So I keep like thinking like next Tubi list, I'll put it on there. I'll watch it and put it on there. So I do need to check it out. Um, because that's the thing is like The Shining, great movie, not an emotional movie for me. And generally, if movies can be like one of my favorites of all time, I kind of need to feel like an emotional connection to it. And Doctor Sleep, that's an emotional movie for me. And it's like I don't know. For me personally, it is scarier. And I know that's super subjective. And a lot of people grew up on The Shining. I didn't grow up on it. But Doctor Sleep's got some really, really scary moments. And Rebecca Ferguson is like a all-timer villain in it. Oh yeah, I super want to do that. I want to go to Sleepy Hollow so bad one of these days. Ooh, do a double feature of Vampire's Night Orgy and Young Hannah, Queen of the Vampires. Ooh, I don't know if I know that movie. I'm gonna have to look that up. Yeah, me too. Watched the first episode and was like, I am not watching this generic cop show that they tried to shoehorn Sleepy Hollow into. It's so depressing. Oh man. Do you think they'll ever discover the cuts and outtakes from Freaks 1932? No. I mean, that movie is so old, I'm sure they would be destroyed or like not usable by now. So no, I don't think so. And the movie itself is so great anyway. I don't think it needs it. Will we be seeing a video ranking all 327 episodes of Supernatural? No. But Chase might do that. So I'm calling out to Chase to do that. The same thing happens to me with Supernatural as happened to me with most CW shows is I'll watch it for a little bit. I'm like, yeah, this is good. But they are so insanely long. Like every CW show like has 10 zillion episodes to it or 327 episodes. And it's just too much and I can't keep up with it. Like, one of their superhero shows, I watched Supergirl for a time and I really liked it. Supergirl is a really good show. But it is so ridiculously long. I could never watch all of that. So I eventually gave up on it. Same thing with Supernatural. Same thing with Superman and Lois. My wife and I together watched Superman and Lois for a time. It's good, but it is way too long. A lot of people are woofing. Respect. Uh, Great episode. Lesser known adaptation of Pin the Pendulum. Torture Chamber of Dr. Sadism. Yeah, that's probably what you're talking about. Yeah, in Renfield, Nicolas Cage, I think, is a really good Dracula. And he was a perfect Dracula for that movie. He was exactly what that movie needed. Favorite John Carpenter movie is the basic one. It is Halloween. I know all the cool kids say The Thing, and The Thing is a close second. The Thing is amazing. But there's just something special about Halloween. It just has to be my favorite. Let's see. Midnight Meat Train, the beginning of Bradley Cooper's rise. Jor-El himself. I remember that surprised me in Superman when Jor-El comes up and I was like, it's Bradley Cooper. Okay. I've actually never seen it. I've actually heard it's like a pretty underrated 2000s horror movie, so I should check it out. Yeah, like I said to somebody else a little while ago, not a horror gamer, just not a gamer in general. Oh, we got another super chat. Let's see. For 4.99, scribbled once more. Thank you so much for that. Bravo's scariest movie moments is a must see on YouTube. Is your scariest movie moment? Yeah, I know a lot of people love that. My buddy Matt is a huge fan of it. He did a whole podcast episode on it on Film Feast, his podcast. That's how fried my brain is right now. I forgot Film Feast, which I've been on a million times. What is my scariest movie moment? Well, I've said this a million times, but the moment that scared me the most in my life in a movie is the end of The Fly, the original with Vincent Price, when the little fly creature is screaming, "Help me," as a spider comes after it. Never been more scared of anything on a TV ever than that. Not the scariest moment of all time for me anymore. Now, the scariest thing I can think of that I saw fairly recently is in Ghost Watch. Ghost Watch is such a great movie. And it's when, so they've named the ghost in that movie Pipes. And I love that. I love how they've like named him. It's this creepy name because he bangs on the pipes. And there's this moment where they have very strong reason to believe that the ghost is on the other side of this door. And they're filming. It's a found footage kind of movie. So they're like filming and they're very slowly opening the door and they're opening it and they get interrupted and like they can't finish by something, but like there's like a glimpse of something. There's like a figure there you see for a brief second before like the door isn't open anymore. And that scene is so scary. It is like so well done. That is the first one that comes to mind for me now. Oh, another one from Mr. 3D Print Wizard. Thank you so much for $1.99. Favorite movie time snacks. Now it is popcorn. It didn't always for me. I actually didn't used to be the biggest fan of popcorn. But my wife really made me a big popcorn fan because she loves popcorn and she would make it fairly regularly. And I just really grew to love popcorn. So it's got to be popcorn. But as far as candy, I love Bunch of Crunch. And I actually got Bunch of Crunch when I went to Superman the other night. Just got a box of Bunch of Crunch. It was great. Super fun. Super fun for Superman. Let's see. They're talking about Supernatural. I don't have time. It's not physically possible. I'm already strained trying to watch enough movies to keep the channel going. There's no way I can watch Supernatural. Oh, let's see. What does your wife think of your video collection? I mean, she's fine with it. She doesn't care about it. She used to, come downstairs sometimes and be like, "You have too many movies." And I'd be like, "No, I don't." What I would usually say is, "You have no idea how many movies I don't have." There are so many movies I do not own. But yeah, I think maybe, it never really bothered her. Maybe it annoyed her a little bit more when I was like buying a lot of them. And even when I look back on it, I'm like, I was buying too much. Like I should have been saving more money. I should have been investing more money in my 20s for sure. But I buy a lot less now. I suppose since going full-time on YouTube, it's almost like the meaning of money means more to me now that there's not always this. I mean, there is a regular paycheck, but it doesn't feel as guaranteed anymore. So I buy a lot less now. So she's fine with it. She buys a lot of books though. So not as many movies as I do, but she does buy a lot of books. Let's see. Trivia for Daniel. What band filmed a video at Sleepy Hollow Cemetery? No idea. You'll have to let me know. Let's see. Scrolling through looking for interesting questions. Who said that? To call Silence of the Lambs and The Shining trash is pretty trash. If you're not a thing, that's cool, but they're definitely highly regarded for a reason. I don't know if you're responding to somebody else in here, but I certainly never said The Shining is trash. I said it's a great movie. It's just not one of my top favorite movies of all time. Silence of the Lambs I never even mentioned. So maybe you're talking to somebody else? I don't know. Odd. I just saw Kino Lorber's releasing Late Night Mysteries. The cover looks pretty cool. Has anyone seen it? I don't know what that is. That kind of sounds like a series more than a movie. Curious. Oh, here we go. Lindsay, my partner and I love Stephen Rose. We have a few shirts, even more coasters. Yeah, they fit the vibe of this channel so well. Ooh, Del Toro's Devil's Backbone Devil's Backbone and Crimson Peak. I can't believe I forgot to mention Crimson Peak, but I did talk about that in a video just recently. Love Crimson Peak. Such a great homage to like Hammer movies and Corman Poe movies. Excuse me. And Devil's Backbone I have seen. That one didn't really connect with me that much. I mean, I thought it was a good movie. I liked it. I actually did a podcast on it back. It was an early episode of the Cobwebs podcast. I liked it. I didn't love it like I love most Del Toro movies though, but it's probably due for a rewatch. It's been many years. Ooh, Wild Bullfrog, older than Crypt Keeper here. You are a patron. Yes, so thank you so much. Still love horror from all decades, including today. 66 or 66 degrees. You're lucky. Yeah, respect that. I'm inspired by people who are older who like still love new art and don't only consume what they consumed when they were young. You know, that's okay if you do, but like, I think that's cool. I think it's very cool. Yeah, Mira Sorvino is the name that I lost. Yeah, I do like her. Favorite George Romero zombie film? Dude, Dawn of the Dead all the way. I mean, you know, the first three are all great, but like Dawn of the Dead, something special, head and shoulders. But yeah, Night of the Living Dead's a classic. Day of the Dead's really, really good too. Not a big fan of Land of the Dead, and I've never even watched the last two. I hear they're horrible. So one of these days, I know I'll have to check that off my list to be a true horror fan. But I still put them off. Diary of the Dead and Survival of the Dead. Yeah, still haven't watched them. Thank you, Anthony. What horror movie are you most anticipating for the rest of 2025? There's three that come to mind. I'll rank them for you. So number one, most anticipated, it's got to be Del Toro's Frankenstein. Really excited for that. I mean, I just love Frankenstein, obviously. And that just seems like the movie Del Toro was put on this earth to make. Like, he's an obsessive Frankenstein fan. Like, nobody cares about Frankenstein more than Del Toro does. He's always wanted to make this, so he's finally got his chance, and it's awesome. I just hope I'll get the chance to see it in the theater because it's a Netflix movie. And I really hope they put it out theatrically before it drops on Netflix. Then number two, I'm going to say Weapons, which is the next movie from the Barbarian director. And it's supposed, the way they're hyping it, it's like an epic. Like, it's not just a horror movie, it's like a horror epic, but really gory and scary. And it sounds like it's going to be pretty incredible. Then number three, Together, which comes out last weekend. I think it's, yeah, I'll be able to see it Thursday, July 31st, because it officially comes out Friday, August 1st. Together is a body horror movie starring Dave Franco and Alison Brie. It's had a very interesting lawsuit around it that I'm like, for some reason, super fascinated by. There's this super low budget indie movie that like isn't even available on streaming. Like it barely got released. But they're claiming that this movie Together is a ripoff of it. But this other movie is not a horror movie. It's a comedy. But they're saying it's the same concept and there's some like verbatim stuff. But the way that the defense has defended it sounds pretty convincing. So I don't know if it's legit or if this other movie is kind of just trying to get a little bit of fame off of it. I don't know. I'm really curious how it's going to turn out. But I've heard the movie's fantastic. It was Cody Leach's favorite horror movie of Fantastic Fest, I remember. And usually when he really loves like a new kind of smaller horror movie, that means I'm probably going to love it too. So I'm really looking forward to it. Good question. Let's see. Yes, Zach Krager, the Weapons director, is doing a Resident Evil movie I'm keen to see. I was almost a little bit disappointed by that because I kind of want him to do original stuff. But for Resident Evil fans, that's probably great news. Although one of my friends, my best friend actually, is my best man at my wedding. He's like a diehard Resident Evil fan. And he's like the only person I know who didn't like Barbarian. So that's kind of funny. So he has mixed feelings on it. Where are the questions coming from? I don't see them in the chat. They're probably just way, way higher up because it's going through real fast. And I just scroll down. Every once in a while, I kind of scroll down to see what people are saying now. What's your favorite sci-fi horror, man? I mean, if you count Frankenstein, but you know, I know that's not the best answer. I know it's not a pure horror movie, but we are talking sci-fi here. So like, I love Predator. Oh, you know what? I know exactly what it is. It's John Carpenter's The Thing. Yeah, that would be it. John Carpenter's The Thing. That's got to be my favorite. But yeah, huge fan of Predator as well. Yes, I'm not like a diehard David Lynch fan, and I'm not an expert on him. I have not seen all his movies, but from what I have seen, I do really like him. Love Blue Velvet, love Eraserhead, Lost Highway is really interesting. Oh, Mulholland Drive, I love. That might be my favorite of his. Yeah, so I tend to always like his movies, but I haven't seen all of them. Thank you, Tom Barry. No question, but for $2, super appreciate it. Yeah, I've seen some other people online saying they don't like it, but my friend is the only person I know in real life who didn't like it. Thank you, Renita. I mean, the channel is growing insanely fast, so I certainly have no complaints. It'll probably. I'm really excited to get a silver play button. Like I think that's going to be just insanely cool, and I think it's going to happen within a year. So, by the way, silver play button is what you get if you get 100,000 subscribers. Yes, Carnival of Souls is awesome. Any recommendations for movies with spooky psychological atmosphere like it? The first movie that comes to mind that feels a lot like Carnival of Souls is Messiah of Evil. It's from the 70s. I don't like it as much as Carnival of Souls because I don't think it's as interesting. Like, I don't think the story and the character stuff is as interesting, but the atmosphere is very comparable and it's got some super, super creepy scenes. Another one that's kind of comparable is Night Tide. And Night Tide is a horror movie, but like not totally a horror movie. It's kind of a mermaid movie, but it's got very similar atmosphere to Carnival of Souls. It's from the 60s. It's actually got Dennis Hopper in it. Speaking of Blue Velvet. They never are they? That's what I hear. The Resident Evil movies are never inspired by the games, and that seems to always really frustrate people. Favorite piece of horror memorabilia you own? I don't have a lot. Oh, I know exactly what it is. It's over here. Um, you know what? Let's just turn it. Why not? The glare of the lights there. But you can kind of see my Goosebumps haunted mask. It's on the top of my spinny shelf. Um, yeah, that is the haunted mask from Goosebumps. Obviously not the real one. It's a Trick or Treat replica. Kind of regretting this right now. Now I've got to get this rearranged. Going to give you all a headache doing this. But yeah, I always wanted one of those when I was a kid, and you couldn't buy something like that in back in those days. But now you can buy something like that, and it's super cool. What makes fear more effective in horror? What's seen or what's left unseen? Totally depends on the movie for sure. I don't like how this looks anymore. Totally depends on the movie. I tend to prefer seen because what I always say about this is I'm a monster kid. I grew up a monster kid. I like seeing Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman. So I like to see stuff in horror movies. I like to see the makeup, the special effects, the practical effects, the monster design. I want to see stuff. But it can be super effective to not see stuff like that moment I just described in Ghost Watch where you only barely see something. Incredibly effective. So it's definitely like it. What's interesting, I think sometimes filmmakers do the what's not seen thing as kind of a cop out to kind of get out of having to actually design something or have a practical effect or do the makeup job. And sometimes you can't do it budgetarily. So sometimes I think it's a little bit of a cop out. Most of the time, I think you should show something. But if you can pull it off, you're really, really good at it. Not showing something can be really, really effective, but it's kind of harder to pull that off, I think. I think not being a horror filmmaker myself, not speaking from experience, that's just what I think. What's your favorite, J horror or K horror? So I assume Japanese horror versus Korean horror. Not an expert on either. At this point, I've probably seen more Japanese horror movies. But as far as Korean horror, I don't know that any Japanese horror film I've seen has been as good as Train to Busan. But Train to Busan is the only Korean horror movie I can think of off the top of my head. So let me do a quick Google, see what I'm forgetting. See, there's a lot I haven't seen. Like, I haven't seen A Tale of Two Sisters. I have seen Gonjiam Haunted Asylum. Not a big fan of it. It's kind of with my found footage thing. Sometimes I love found footage, but most of the time I struggle with it. Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of Korean horror, so I can't really speak to it. So I think I'd have to go Japanese horror by default. But Train to Busan would be the best movie I've seen in either of those categories. Let's see. Oh, we got Huck in the house. Let me try to find him. There he is. Kudos on your 70K. Thank you, Huck. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Let's see. Yeah, Pulse is one that like I swear I almost watched it for this foreign horror movies list that I'm putting out mid this week. Um, but I watched something else instead. I'll give you a tease. I finally watched The Sadness. I have gotten, oh, there we go. Somebody literally just mentioned it. Yeah, I've recently gotten a lot of comments about The Sadness. So people like, have you seen The Sadness? When are you going to see The Sadness? I'm like, I got to see it. So I almost watched Pulse, but I watched The Sadness instead. And The Sadness is really good. So I'll be talking about that in my next video. Yes, I have seen Horror Express. I like it. I don't love it like a lot of other people do. I expected to super love it and I didn't, but maybe it just needs a second watch for it to fully click. Ghost Story does have some pretty creepy moments. I've only seen that movie once. I didn't love all of it, but I did really love parts of it. My thing is like, I thought all the flashback stuff with Alice Krieg was like so ridiculously great. But then some of the present day stuff, even though it's got some great older actors like Fred Astaire, some of that I didn't love so much. But that's one that I do want to rewatch. And I think I'm going to rewatch that one before I do this year's winter horror movies list that I do plan to do. Ooh, somebody said that Pulse is terrible. Interesting. Oh, somebody else just mentioned The Sadness. Yeah. That is a gnarly movie. I tell you what, gnarly is the word. I do need to see that. I was actually just talking to my sister this past weekend. Like not last weekend, but the past one because I was down visiting family. And she's super into Korean stuff. And I asked her if she's seen I Saw the Devil, and she said yeah, and she said it's really great. So I do need to watch that. Oh, The Wailing I've seen. That's a Korean horror movie. I totally forgot. Yeah, that's a really good movie. That's another one that like I expected to just go gaga over and just love like crazy. And I didn't quite, but I did think it was a really good movie. Favorite version of Dracula? I mean, I do feel like Bela Lugosi is the quintessential one, and he was my first Dracula. So he's the one I really loved as a kid. Now I think I love Christopher Lee more. But then I think my favorite all in all Dracula is the Coppola Dracula. Although I do really love Gary Oldman's Dracula, but I would have to say I like Christopher Lee better. But the whole movie of Coppola's Dracula is just so insanely great. And then now I really love Bill Skarsgård, who's not technically Dracula, he's Count Orlok, but he's basically Dracula. And now I'm a big fan of him too. We got Born to Be Rad in the house. Let's see. Any real life paranormal experiences? I wish I could say no, a yes, but no. That's actually something I used to be completely closed off to the possibility of ghosts or the supernatural. Like I was 100% skeptic and was just like, no, that stuff is not real. Like 100%, it's not real. But I've softened on it in recent years. I think I've talked about this in a live stream before. I've softened on it to the point where like I kind of want to believe it. And I don't want to be the skeptical guy, and I want to be a little more open to it. And now when like people tell me about paranormal experiences, in the past I'd just be like, that's nonsense. But now I take it more seriously. And like I take it seriously that that's their experience. And I don't know what really happened, but some things that people have told me sound like really, really convincing. And I think it would be really cool to experience something, but I've certainly never even come close for sure. Yeah, I mean, Frankenstein is a sci-fi horror story, but I know when people say sci-fi horror today, that's not really what they mean. They're usually meaning something more like Aliens or something like that. The camera moves, history has been made. Oh yeah, the theater scene of Messiah of Evil, that's the best scene in that movie. Like that. Even if you don't like anything else in that movie, you should see it for the theater scene. And I think the grocery store scene is incredible as well. Oh, let's see. Love to see a new Jekyll and Hyde movie or miniseries. Didn't Hammer recently make a Jekyll and Hyde? And wasn't it starring like some rock star or something? I thought I heard about it. And I think my friend Crystal Cleveland, she has a horror channel. I think she reviewed it. but I don't know if it ever actually got released because I didn't hear anything about it. If anybody knows about that, let me know. Silver play button by Halloween. Like and share the channel, folks. Thank you. I'm always blown away by how many people share the videos because that's a metric that YouTube tells me. And I just can't believe it. Like, I can't believe how much you guys are sharing it. So thank you so much. I was just watching your 20K subscriber live stream just over a year ago. Incredible growth. Yeah, it's pretty wild. For sure. Ooh, what's it like actually doing a 24-hour movie marathon? Ooh, I will come right back to this, but I just saw Super Chat pop up and I don't want to miss it. So I'll be right back to that. Oh, Philip Workman. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Severin as a Danza Macabre Volume 4 Italian Gothic collection coming soon. Yes. Did you get the third one? Yes, I did. Have you checked out the titles in this new box set? So yes, I got the third one. It's right back there. It's the red one right there. And I did review it, so you can check out my review of it. The thing with that third one is I thought one of the movies in there, it's called Night of the Walking Dead, was fantastic. And it was like, it's so good. I'm so glad I have it. I'm so glad I've now seen it. And I didn't like any other movie in that box. So overall, like a success, but also a disappointment. I haven't bought the fourth one. I'm not sure if I'm going to because those sets are insanely uneven. Like they're just crazy uneven. But I've seen one movie in there. I've seen The Devil's Wedding Night. Always wanted to see that movie, so I was pretty excited that they put it in there, but I actually already watched it on streaming. It was like a low quality version, but I still got to see the movie. So it would be really cool to see it in good quality because it is a good movie. But I'm not familiar with any of the rest of them. But thank you so much for the super chat. Now, let's come back to... I will find it. I will not lose it. There we go. What's it like actually doing a 24-hour movie marathon? It's crazy. For a while, like I don't know, man. I'm a big movie guy, as you know. So like I can watch a lot of movies in a row and be happy. So like all day watching movies, because they usually start at noon. All day I'm happy. It's all good. Through the midnight movie, I'm pretty happy. Once you get into the overnight, I just want to sleep so bad. And the only reason I don't really sleep in the ones I've attended is because the seats are so uncomfortable. The ones I've attended are in old, like historic movie theaters. And the seats are just terribly uncomfortable. So it's almost impossible to sleep in them. But I kind of doze in and out, especially starting around like 4 or 5 a.m. But it is kind of a struggle. And it's hard to have like a good movie watching experience. However, this year, so the group of friends that I normally do these 24-hour marathons with, we're doing it here in my basement. So like 2 of them live like in other states, but they're coming in, they're traveling in, they're going to stay with me for the weekend. And we're going to do a 24-hour marathon in the basement. Thing is, I have very little faith that we're going to make it overnight when we're in my house and the couch is pretty comfortable and I can just go upstairs to bed anytime I want. So like, I don't have any faith we're going to make it 24 hours, but we'll watch movies a lot and it'll be fun. It'll be a good time. Let's see. Thoughts on Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight. Really good movie. Very fun. It's not like an all-time favorite for me, but it's a fun demon movie. It's, you know, I like that little subgenre of demon movies, where like the demons are monsters, you know, and it's not just like, you know, it's not like a possession thing, but the demons are, you know, it's like Night of the Demons and Demons from Liberto Bava. Like I kind of like the monster of demons, and I wish those got utilized more. Man, oh man, we've been going well over 2 hours. Let's probably wrap this up fairly soon, but I'm just going to scroll through, see if there's any other questions I want to. Oh, I assume you're talking about Shape of Water. Maybe you're a little bit behind. No, I know that, but come on. It's clearly his homage to Creature from the Black Lagoon. No, they've done a little more. Yeah, they did The Woman in Black from 2012. They did The Quiet Ones, which I think was from 2014. Which I've not actually seen, but I have a friend that really likes it, so I should probably check it out. And I could have swore they came back and did a Jekyll and Hyde movie. No, they did, but I don't know that it ever got released, so I'll have to double check about that. Oh, here we go. I've got the Jekyll and Hyde movie, but I haven't seen it yet. Oh yeah, Eddie Izzard. That's the star of it. So it's on physical media. Is that what you mean by you have it? Interesting. I gotta check it out. Horror movies with the best cinematography for you personally. Let's see. Cinematography in horror movies. Pretty much anything like Dean Cundey is shot. But like Halloween, really, it's a low budget movie, but it looks insanely beautiful. Halloween would be up there. Um, I've probably been doing this for too long. I'm blanking. Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula, I just mentioned. That's a gorgeous movie. And I just love the way they do the super practical effects in that all on camera. Um, The Witch. Robert Eggers' The Witch. That's the one that I'll end it on. The Witch is awesome. The Reptile is the unsung Hammer movie that just rocks. Yeah, I really like The Reptile. I talked about that in a monster movies list I did sometime this year, early this year. Yeah, I remember when it came out too, and I remember thinking like it just looked like a super generic movie, but I didn't know it was a Hammer movie. I didn't learn that until much later, so I need to catch up with it. It's July, but I'm yearning for fall and a good horror movie. Do you have any favorite autumnal candle sets that would set the scents that would set the mood? Um, I love a good fall candle. I tend to like the pumpkin ones. I'm not a big fan of the apple ones. I love apple, but I don't necessarily want the house to smell like apple. I tend to like, I don't know, I guess kind of the generic ones that are just like, they're called like harvest season, or I think I got one year that was like candy corn. I think it was called like candy corn maze. And I loved that one a lot. I tend to get a lot of scented candles from Michaels. I like them. Ooh, favorite Goosebumps book. Haunted Mask. Hands down. Haunted Mask. It's both the best book and it's the best of the TV show episodes. Yes, Lucy and Bram Stoker's Dracula, some of the scariest vampire stuff ever. Totally agree. And what's funny is when I went and watched the 70s Dracula with Frank Langella, the 79 one, it's got a very similar scene, but you can tell that in the Coppola version, they decided to do that, but take it to the next level. So it's way more striking in the Coppola version, but it's a good version of it in the Langella one too. Agreed. Werewolf Fever Swamp is definitely a banger. I've got a Werewolf in Fever Swamp t-shirt. Dude, Goosebumps. So important to me when I was a kid. Let's see. Scrolling up, seeing if there's any other questions I want to answer. What is your personal best record for how many movies you've watched in a row? I mean, it would have been those 24-hour marathons, so that's probably like 10. And for ones that I've actually sat through, probably around 10, but I don't know for sure. Dude, you should. Yeah, it'll be in October. I think we're going to do it the last weekend of October, I believe, if I'm remembering right. Well, thankfully, I don't drive home. The past couple of years, my buddy Chris's wife has dropped us off and picked us up both times, so I'm not driving after that. Let's see. Have you been to the Exhumed Horathon in Colonial Theater in Pennsylvania where the Blob was filmed? No, but I bet that's awesome. I like Pennsylvania a lot. I traveled to Pennsylvania once, and I didn't like Philadelphia because it's a very dirty city, and also I'm just not a big city person. But being out in the country in Pennsylvania, especially around the Pocono Mountains, man, that is a beautiful place. That's why I feel like I belong in the East Coast. When I travel to the East Coast, man, just love it. I just noticed that the screen is flipped, by the way. Why is it like that? Like it's backwards. Like the Halloween, I'm sure it's backwards. It shouldn't be like that. I should have caught that a lot earlier, but it's almost over now. I've not seen it. I heard it's pretty good though. I don't know. I don't feel any interest in watching an animated Predator movie, but I've heard it's good, so I don't know. Oh, that makes sense. And as they should. I don't think I've ever seen that music video, so I'll have to look that up. Not Bloodlust, but I have seen the first Vampire Hunter D. I believe it's from the 80s, and I enjoyed it. It was pretty cool. It's kind of like the Van Helsing action movie, but before Van Helsing. Not Hammer. I don't think I don't. Is it Hammer? I know what movie you're talking about, and I believe that is coming out. I don't know that it's a Hammer movie. It might be. You might be right, but I know what movie, and I'm excited for it. Oh, I know. The goat scene is insane. I really tried to give you guys a realistic picture for that movie. Like I didn't go on there and just say, great movie, best movie ever. Everybody should watch it. No, I wanted to prepare you for what you're going to experience with Antichrist. That is an insane movie. And the goat thing, like I could not believe it. I could not believe they put that on screen. But they did it. That's the 70s for you. No other decade than the 70s would that happen. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, I am like shocked you've not seen Messiah of Evil. I feel like you've seen everything. I'm like blown away that you've not seen it. That blows my mind. Yeah, I think you'll enjoy it for sure. Let's see. Oh, somebody says that I'm unmirrored. Oh, okay, cool. I don't know why it looks that way to me. All right, never mind. Never mind. Yeah, I like the historical parts of Philadelphia. You know, I like seeing the Liberty Bell and stuff like that. But I'm not a big city person. I fully admit that. It's rough. Yeah, it is rough for sure. Ooh, other than Tubi, any other free streaming channels for horror movies? Yeah, I just talked about it earlier in the stream, but Hoopla and Canopy. But you have to have a library card. But if you don't have a library card, you should have a library card. But it's not necessarily guaranteed that your library is covered under it, so you'll have to find out. Excuse me. Yeah, but as long as you have a library card, you will be able to use those. Um, I don't think I use like Plex is one some people use, and the Roku channel is one some people use. In my experience, the ads are pretty rough on those. Like people complain about the ads on Tubi. In my experience, Plex and the Roku channel are a lot worse. Tubi, I think, is the best ad experience that there is for free streaming services. But then, other than that, YouTube. Guys, seriously, there are so many old horror movies on YouTube that are just kind of bootlegs. I don't promote them here on the channel because I don't think I can. Like, I don't think I'm allowed because they are bootlegs. They're not legit. They're not there legitimately, but they're there and there's so many of them. So, like, if there's an older kind of obscure horror movie that you want to see, if you can't find it anywhere, it might be on Tubi. It might be here on YouTube. So I just check. That's all I'm saying. Have a good one, Matthew. Thank you for being here. That's the movie. Okay, so it is Hammer. Cool. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. That'll be a big one for next year. Also, supposedly it was supposed to come out this year. I don't think it's going to happen at this point because there's been so little news. But James Wan is supposedly making a Call of Cthulhu movie. So that'll probably end up being next year. So that'll be my most anticipated movie of next year, hands down. Hands down. Yeah, Severin box sets they're kind of rough, but they make them look so good. Like they're so good at the marketing. They just announced a Shark Exploitation box set. I don't know any of those movies. Honestly, they're probably terrible, but that box set looks so cool. My buddy Chris is probably going to buy it, and if he does, I'll probably watch through it with him. Yeah, that's Stay Out of the Basement. That's the second book, Goosebumps book. And it's good. Maybe I don't know what it would be. That's the thing is I don't know how I do it because I don't necessarily want it to just be like, me being like, I love Goosebumps when I was a kid and here's my childhood memories. I'd want it to be a little bit more interesting than that, but I don't know what I would do with it. But it would be cool because I do love Goosebumps. Let's see. Yeah, Tubi is awesome. I've been using it a lot recently. Fan channel for listening to you. Oh, the Film Feast podcast. Cool. Oh, awesome. Thank you, Chad. Yeah, I love Film Feast. R.I.P. I miss it. Let's see. Legit horror on the tube. Yeah, there are some movies that are on YouTube legitimately. You watch them with ads, so it's like Tubi. From when I've looked, there's not much. So they don't have very much generally that I find. It's not like Tubi where it's like this bottomless pit. Yeah, YouTube is packed with noir. Like you want to watch an obscure old noir movie, YouTube got you covered. They're everywhere. Let's see. Same. Mine is also Fright Night. Just crazy love Fright Night. Yeah, Creature Features is a channel that like they kind of do like a Joe Bob Briggs kind of thing. I assume they must make no money off of it on ad revenue because I'm sure every video would get copyright hit and they wouldn't make anything. So maybe they have a Patreon and they generally make their money there, or maybe they just do it totally as a hobby. But I've always kind of wondered about that. But yeah, they do like a Joe Bob Briggs kind of thing, just showing the whole movie. I don't know how they do it, but they do it somehow. Oh, let's see. Hello, Daniel Banks. Yeah, yeah, Voodoo has a lot of stuff with ads. I used to watch some stuff on Voodoo sometimes. It's been a long time since I had, so I don't remember what the ad experience is like. And it's probably different by now anyway. So yeah, I don't know. Do, do, do. Ooh, Travolta's Blowout on Tubi. Yeah, that is a great movie for sure. Okay, so I think it's time to end this thing. Yeah, so we opened the packages, we answered all the Patreon questions, answered a lot of other questions. We celebrated 70K subscribers. We had well over 200 people in here most of the time. I think that's my biggest live stream ever. So thank you all so much. Super appreciate you. Y'all that sent me gifts, thank you so much for them. It's awesome. And have a good night, or if you're halfway around the world, have a good day, whatever it may be. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.